Hello, and welcome to episode 40 of the Sonic Board Podcast. It is April 24th, 2020, and I'm your host, DeoxysPrime. And joining me on this edition of a quarantine podcast, we got Matt.
Hello.
We got DL.
Hello.
We got Kenny.
Yeah.
We got Funk.
Yeah.
We got Omega.
Hello.
And I definitely did not forget him. We have Frank.
Did you know the Dunkaroos are coming back,
Oh my
guys?
God.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
Dunkaroos are coming back. Why?
Somehow, Dunkaroos have returned.
Because of the quarantine, we all have so little going on that there's going to be a Dunkaroos podcast.
But, like, they're the perfect school snack, and kids can't go to school. So what are they going to do?
We're
the thing with
adults.
Dunkaroos.
But think of the children.
The thing with Dunkaroos is you can't just have one pack.
No, you got to eat all of them.
No, so
You
the
have to
secret to
eat the entire
Dunkaroos,
fucking
there are the you know, like the line piece in Tetris. The corresponding Dunkaroo is the big circle, and you take two of the big circles and you scoop up literally all of the cream and make a kind of sandwich. And I don't know what you do with the rest of the cookies, but
No. Okay. Any snack, any cookie snack that has cream involved with it, the cookie is always better than the cream.
that's not true.
Yeah, I
100%.
actually agree with Funk on this one.
So
Oreo?
it's true.
Oreo.
I'll give you Oreo, and that's all I'll give you.
Well, Oreo.
You won't give me Dunkaroo?
No, the cream is the cookies suck. They're so fucking dry with Dunkaroo.
Oh, God forbid.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to
Funk likes his cookies soggy.
Cookies are so dry. Teacher, I can't eat these cookies. They're too dry.
I haven't eaten a Dunkaroo
Teach.
in years, but I
Hey, yo,
remember
teach.
how fucking dry they are.
Dunkaroos, man.
Okay, well,
You teach. Funk's got Dunkaroo in his knapsack.
okay then. Well, how did you all eat fruit roll-ups?
You take it, you mash it all up into one glob and shove it in your mouth.
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking... I always confuse these. Are you talking like fruit roll-ups, or are you talking fruit by the foot?
Okay, I was
Eat them
so
the
I
same way.
said fruit roll-ups, but I was thinking fruit by the foot. But now that you've mentioned it, I know the difference. But yes, you can eat fruit by the foot the same way too.
There should be no difference between how you eat fruit by the foot and how you eat fruit roll-ups.
Some people eat fruit roll-ups like they're giving it head, but I don't.
What?
I don't subscribe to that.
I bet you don't.
Hey,
Glad you said people and not kids.
Oh, God.
Well,
This
kids-
was a great start.
Kids aren't people, so.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
but who else eats fruit by the foot? Or fruit roll? What the fuck are we talking about?
Fruit roll-ups.
Well,
You can't, how do you give head to a fruit by the
Does
foot?
Snowman Gaming eat fruit roll-ups?
How do you give head to fruit roll-ups?
Looks like he
No,
does.
okay, so you take the fruit roll up. So you know those vaginal screens they have for sanitary use?
No!
We all know Funk thinks about the vagina all the time, so go ahead.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, no. So there's like these it's like a condom for the vagina when you're giving it head.
Dental dam?
Kind of. And a fruit roll up in some way resembles that. So imagine the fruit roll up is a dental dam and you're just kind of like shoving your face in there and going at it with your tongue.
Like when you say giving head, you're sucking a dick.
Okay, well I wasn't talking to Matt, so I don't know why you would get that assumption.
What?
He was making a joke about Matt being bisexual.
Did you say bisexual?
I did.
Kenny,
What?
does Target sell Dunkaroos?
No.
Fuck!
Okay, so well, Kenny,
You'll
It's gonna-
Dunkaroo this day.
it's gonna dovetail nicely into our next subject. How have you been spending your quarantine?
At work.
Kenny's the only one of us that's an essential worker.
Yes, essential.
Yeah.
Well, I still have to do my job. But
Well, that's
I
true.
can
You are
still
kind of essential.
I'm still working.
It's
But-
the
Yeah,
first
but you're
time
working
in my
from
life
home,
I've been
so it doesn't
essential
count.
for anything.
I'm still working too.
Like, if you're working from home, it's not essential.
Oh, I guess, yeah, you're not essential.
Hey,
That's true.
a better way to put it is like I'm on the front lines, as
Yeah.
they've been saying.
Basically,
which is
Kenny's gonna die.
So brave.
Yes.
So brave.
Have they been clapping for you every day at 7 o'clock? Because they've been doing that over here.
Kenny's a real hero.
Do you do the Walmart chant every morning?
do you do, and this is a real thing, do you do the Denver howl at 8 o'clock?
What the fuck is that?
That
Yeah,
sounds like an
I-
Urban Dictionary like thing.
It does, but
Yes, give her the old Denver howl.
it's a real thing. So people of Denver, for some reason, at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., they just howl at the moon. And it's something related
Not
to
true.
quarantine.
It's
This
not
is true. I was
Give us an
watching it.
example.
He just did.
How I was watching this guy stream Magic who lives in Denver, and he was like, there was some howling noises going on, and he's like, oh yeah, that's people in Denver, they just do this at 8 o'clock now. And I'm like, no way is that true. So I googled it, and it was.
It sounds a little anecdotal to me.
Well, so little known
Because
fact.
it's an anecdote.
Like little known fact, Denver's nickname is the city of werewolves, so explains it.
Werewolves in London?
Yeah, I was about to make a Warren Zevon joke.
The first
Glad
and last
Frank
time.
beat me to it.
Well,
But needless to say, like we're required to wear masks now. Every employee,
I think
Or-
we need to see that.
team member. It
It's-
sucks.
At least America's finally catching up to the superior mask culture of Asian countries.
Kenny, is your mask like Halo themed?
I wish it were, because that'd be so much better.
Well, why don't you go to the costume section, pick out, a little costume for yourself?
Yeah, you earned it.
Is a Master Chief helmet considered proper PPE?
Oh, for God's sake, no.
What are we talking about? Kenny's PP?
Personal protection.
Proper PP?
Yeah, proper PP.
Kenny, is your PP safe?
My PP.
You don't want to
is
be
safe.
caught with an improper PP.
Well, how about everyone else? How are you guys handling this?
It's really no problem for me. I don't want to make that same stupid joke that everybody makes. Like, my life's exactly the same because I never go outside. Like, wow, you're so fucking special.
I gotta say, my life's not exactly the same at all, but I have regressed to like back when I used to never go outside, and now I'm so happy. I've never been happier.
It is nice. So when I was just kind of footing it on my own here, I like wore the same clothes and didn't go outside for like a week or whatever, and it's fine, whatever. But I go to my girlfriend's place to hang out, and after one day, she's like, I have to go outside. I have to go outside. I just don't know how people live like this. Are you so afraid of yourself that you can't just be alone in
All
a
right, well
room?
that's extreme. I mean, I like going outside, especially in Japan. Man. Like, Japan is nice. It's nice to go outside there. What are you talking about?
Is outside different where you come from?
Yes, it is. And I'm not going to explain why, because this is a family-friendly podcast.
You can you can explain
Huh?
why. Go right
I'm
ahead.
not explaining why. No.
Is it the minorities?
No.
Is it
It's
the prostitutes?
There's just something about being in Japan that's like it's very peaceful. There's lots of places to go. You can be by yourself, and everything.
In a fucking country with a higher population density than the one you live in?
Well, yeah, no, but like what I mean is like people leave you alone, and like you always feel comfortable being out by yourself. I feel like.
A few people are like obnoxiously loud. Like no one's playing their radio on the train or whatever.
Yeah. Oh God, dude, that drives me up the wall. But
Yeah, but you gotta be packed
so
in like sardines, so that's the trade-off.
the thing with Japan is like my thing is I would always want to at least like take a daily trip to like the convenience or something, pick up some food and do that. I don't know how you don't do that.
You don't think that just because you're like it's the novelty of being in a foreign country? Like
No. It's beautiful. I love the literally just the architecture of Japanese buildings.
Yeah, it's like really terrible and they all look dirty, but it's also kind of calming in a way.
There's something quaint about them that I love walking around like suburban side streets and just like looking at things.
There's always one random like building with an odd sea green color and rounded edges.
Oh yeah, it looks like
sticking
it's
out.
like from the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, like, I still feel like I need to go outside, just, like, not that I need to... I could just, like, not talk to anyone. I haven't fucking... Like, people have to text me to get, in touch with me. I don't text anyone.
Look how important he is.
Well, no, but, like, what I'm saying is, like, I'm in such a mode where it's, like, I am completely satisfied with not talking to anyone at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel you. It's just... I don't feel that urge. Maybe it's just I've been desensitized to it, but I've been living in this specific part of town for a few years now, and it's common, it's routine. So maybe just stay
You
inside.
want to go to like the ramen restaurant though? Like chill.
I do. I don't even know if it's open. I don't know.
Well, yeah. But I mean, what I'm saying is like normal, like day-to-day stuff.
Yes, but faced with closures, the things that I would want to do are no longer an option, so I just have no reason to go outside.
Right. I feel like we were approaching this conversation from, like, you not wanting to go outside to begin with.
Well, I mean, that's true to an extent. I'm not going to claim that I particularly like outside. It's no inside, let's say that.
Yeah, I know. You'd rather get mad at Magic the Gathering and throw your mouse around.
And say the N-word all the time.
Whoa.
I have a bit of a party here. And none of y'all are invited. Jerks.
For me, it's been pretty easy. I know this is like a joke that a lot of people have already made, but my actual parents like commented on how like anybody who's like an introvert is basically going to be fine, like living through all this.
Yeah,
and I guess I never really realized like how hard it is for some people to just not do anything, which is just a strange concept.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I am extraordinarily good at doing nothing.
I feel like these
today
people have no meaningful hobbies, and that's why they're...
Yeah.
I feel like these people who are struggling to just be alone have no meaningful hobbies.
I mean, I just play fucking video games. That's not really... That's
What
I mean,
if that like satisfies you, if that makes you feel like full,
I guess so, yeah.
What I mean by meaningful is not like it's making a difference in the world, but
I mean, like I'm more talking about like when I think of like actual hobbies, I think of like hobbies that aren't just like you're consuming something.
I think that's more for like people don't do things; they just go places.
Right.
There's
That's
a
the
lot
thing.
of that.
Like I never realized how many people just kind of like apparently their life is just working, eating, sleeping, and like going out to a bar or something.
Going to like see people, but like see that's the thing. It's like
to suppress the fucking that like voice in their brain that's saying everything kind of sucks dick, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, like I was doing that for quite a while.
we know.
And I still find it fun. I would still do it, but this whole thing has really made me like recontextualize like what my life is, I guess. Like you get so caught up in like the day to day when you're working and shit that like you don't stop to realize like, oh, this is all fucking stupid. I mean, like I don't know. I'm just
that's what the man wants you.
I'm just talking in like platitudes right now. I mean, like people have said this a million times over by this point, but
it's not like a new revelation. But like,
no.
I think for some people it may be actually now.
It's crazy when it hits you. Well, because like I mean, the first time you find yourself in a situation where you're kind of letting that kind of stuff go, you don't realize it until it gets, like terrible, until like something bad happens.
I
so
guess
for me,
this
it's
whole
nice.
Corvid thing was a good thing because it was a wake-up call.
Stop with the
It was
COVID.
nice.
It's COVID.
I don't And I've honestly been enjoying myself and have been probably the happiest I've been in a couple of years.
Frank, you're rubbing
Yeah.
against the mic.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
I've really been enjoying like working from home, just because it removes my commute and the way it's
like
shaken
But yeah,
out.
that's the other thing too.
I
I
have
don't
less
have to
work
worry
to
about
do.
my fucking car. I
Yeah.
just like I only have to go to a gas station like once a month now.
Yeah, yeah. That's you save a lot of money. Actually, I mean, like economically we're not doing great, but I mean individually, I feel like a lot of people are just saving money from this.
Yeah, and I mean, I got furloughed is the only problem. So now I'm in a situation where I did like sign up for unemployment and everything.
Yeah.
I have no idea how it fucking works. I got like some card in the mail that I still have to activate. I don't really.
Yeah,
understand it.
but you should be able to
But-
still collect it.
Yeah, right.
So you'll be fine.
Did you guys get your Trump bucks yet?
No,
Oh, yeah.
I did. I
I
did
don't
give.
know if I'm eligible.
I mean, you're in.
Well, I'm an American citizen though, and I still have to like file taxes.
Yeah, you pay American taxes, right?
Oh, okay.
How does that work for you? You have to pay both, don't you? Japanese and American?
I don't really know how it works on the American end. I'm kind of a man child, so I asked my mommy to handle it.
Uh-huh.
Um,
You ever find yourself having to pay?
No, not really, because I don't have an income in America, but I do. I still have to file them, the
I
taxes.
see. Okay. All right. I mean, that's like one thing that I'm worried about moving over there is like the fucking tax situation.
It's just so like draconic. Like I have no idea how it works, so it's just a lot of.
What does it have to do with
uncertainty.
dragons?
There it is. Draconic.
Draconian.
Draconic. Or draconian, yeah.
Draconian?
It's a Star Trek race.
Actually, I actually don't think I can go back to the U.S. because of that reason.
What?
Oh, taxes?
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Do you think you'd cross the border and then they'd like apprehend you immediately?
No, well, no.
I know you make so much money that your income tax is probably so huge by now.
But well, I don't make any. Well, it's more that like I think it was like 15 years after I'd moved to Canada, my stepdad just asked me if I had been paying my U.S. tax, and I was like, what?
Whoops.
No one told me I didn't do that. Like I pay my Canadian taxes, I don't pay my U.S. taxes.
What do you do for your Canadian taxes? Are you able to file those by yourself?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's file personal taxes. It's Frank's mic, by the way.
Is it mine?
Okay.
Yeah, you're still still
Wow.
making noise.
Oh my god.
So far, living in Japan, my company that I've worked for all this time has been filing my taxes. They just ask for some information.
Wow, English teachers really are man babies, aren't they?
Well, no, I think it's a kind of norm of some sort. I don't know.
I feel like it would have to be, don't you think?
Yeah, because I feel like there would be rules against that. Yeah, I don't know.
Ah.
But point is, I have not had to learn the intricacies of the Japanese tax system yet.
Hopefully you never do.
Hopefully, I can just stop paying taxes.
Well, when you're dead.
Wow.
If
Go
we're
live
gonna
off
hope-
the grid in the suicide forest.
Do you think there's a lot of coronavirus in the suicide forest?
It's only one way to find out.
All right, well that's a
God.
fun topic.
You remember the good old days where you could just touch your face wantonly?
I still do that.
And I don't
I mean-
really. Yeah.
I'm literally sitting like working on my computer and just like I have my fucking fingers in my mouth.
Oh,
Well, if you're not going outside, then there's no reason not to touch your face.
Yeah, but you
You're
know
not-
the people I live with are going outside.
why? Stay the
Don't
fuck
touch
home.
them.
My parents gave me like 2 bottles of hand sanitizer, just one to keep in my car and just one at home. So basically anytime I just go out, I just sanitize my hands and then sanitize them again when I come back.
Ugh, don't your hands get all dry?
Not really.
don't they get all
I
dry?
mean, I don't
they
go
get dry?
outside. I don't go outside much. Like maybe like once every other day just to get like food or something. If I
you
feel like getting outside.
if you sanitize too much, your hands will become like Dunkaroos cookies.
Way to bring that topic all the way back.
Oh no,
around.
and then Funk won't eat them.
Yeah, your hands have to be moist so we
Look,
can
if
eat them.
all I'm saying is there's no coincidence that they came with a moist cream to eat them with.
Ugh.
No,
I don't think it was labeled
Moist
as moist cream.
I don't think anyone would call it a coincidence that these two things are packaged together.
Like it just happened.
Wow, what a coincidence! I have this cream to dip my cookie in.
What luck.
It does feel like one of those accidental products where they just had like too many of these individual things and then put them together.
That
You know,
does make sense.
I never believed that folklore about how you got like peanut butter in my chocolate. And it's like, how does that accidentally happen?
Just knock over a jar of peanut butter into a jar of chocolate. There you go.
Neither of those things are very like fluid though. That
Wait,
they would
what
just
is
flow out.
this? What is this?
It's,
Have you never? It's the
Reese's commercial.
Pieces advertising. You're like, oh, you got some peanut butter in my chocolate, and the other guy's like, no, you got some chocolate in my peanut butter.
Wait,
and then
no, I'm sorry. Did you just equate advertising to folklore?
Well, it's a common story that was.
I guess
used
we can
in
call it
in
modern
advertisements.
folklore then, huh?
Isn't that just
Yeah.
what all commercials are? Modern folklore.
That's what they're going to be studying thousands of years from now as history.
My point is, I don't believe it. I think that they're lying in some
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Wow,
You don't think,
imagine a commercial is depicting a fabricated situation. I've never
Yeah.
heard of that before.
You don't think Cap'n Crunch really shrunk down those kids to cereal size?
No, and nor do I think that they poll exactly 10 dentists about every kind of toothpaste that exists.
You really think that, like, when you take a bite of the fucking Reese's, like, you know, peanut butter cereal or whatever, like, you have some guy doing a fucking concert in your mouth?
Well, that's a
like,
true story. That happened.
Reese's Puffs,
Well,
peanut butter chocolate flavor.
We would never know because white people aren't allowed to eat Reese's Puffs.
It's
I've
true.
never eaten Reese's Puffs.
What?
Is this
You're
something
white,
you
you're
saw on
white.
Twitter?
I had Reese's Puffs all the fucking time.
What are you, black?
Well,
Yes,
no.
I am.
Look, the joke was that it's always black kids in the Reese's Puffs commercials, and I don't know why.
Oh.
No, we know why. I mean, we're
I'm not
talking,
sure.
but we know why.
I'm just
So
not
the
sure why that
brown?
was the demographic. I mean, it's fine. But go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
you know why? You know why? It's a demographic.
Kind of predatory to focus exclusively on like the 5 to 10-year-old black demo.
What?
That's the podcast demo.
You made me lose. Like we were talking about cereal, you made me lose my train of thought now. God, I had a really important.
What do you?
thought.
How does everyone feel about Special K?
It's actually pretty decent.
Isn't it just Frosted Flakes without the sugar?
No, it's
Or am I thinking-
rice based. I think
Okay.
So-
It's probably fine.
much worse.
Isn't that Kenny's nickname? Special K?
Kenny has many nicknames.
I was watching an Eddie Murphy appearance on The Tonight Show from like 1980,
Because
And-
of course you were.
and
That's what he does.
he made that Special K retard joke. So
Is there any
Or-
basketball trivia associated with this? Or
He stole that from me.
I went down a Johnny Carson rabbit hole the other day.
He ran a good show.
Yeah, it was all right.
Okay. Gonna be some fucking late night show elitism over here.
Yeah, I mean, people really like Johnny. I don't.
As long as we agree that Letterman was the best, that's fine.
Yeah, Letterman's really good. I
Do
think.
we all
I think.
watch fucking late night shows now?
I mean,
think peop-
I did when I was a teenager and I had nothing else to do.
Damn.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I think people overrate Conan O'Brien.
He's pretty wacky. You know who he reminds me of? Colin.
Whoa.
Yeah, I can buy that.
Colin does have big Conan energy.
He has Conan.
Colin did write for The Simpsons.
He could, and he could have a show where he does wacky things and is
His
you
fat
know,
sidekick.
completely like just not genuine at all, always ironic. It's his personality, like to a T. He is Conan.
Colin, we're so sorry.
He's not gonna listen to this.
In fact, his name is probably actually Conan.
The only Conan related things I've seen are the Clueless Gamer stuff and the YTMD meme of him doing the crocodile thing.
Yes! Oh my god, that was a classic. That was a classic. I love that. I was listening to his he's doing like a podcast now, I guess. I was listening to a couple episodes today because I'm running out of podcasts to listen to.
Have you listened to ours yet?
Actually, that would be a great idea. Just go
back through the archives. See how many times you cringe.
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. I mean, just listening to our Sonic 06 retrospect, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was pretty good. If I do say so myself.
Honestly, we did pretty good.
Well, I mean, that was a different podcast.
Yeah, well.
It's a better podcast, but still.
Yeah, we're not going to name that podcast on this podcast. That would be disingenuous. I was listening to Conan's podcast, and he had fucking Pee-wee on, Pee-wee Herman.
Pee-wee Herman.
And I immediately wikied him, and he got arrested for child porn.
Yeah,
he didn't.
Wait,
I didn't know
that. Different from the time he masturbated in the theater?
Yes. Yeah, there was 2 different times he got arrested. And I had no idea about either of those things, but you just know.
I knew about the first one, the movie theater one. That was a pretty famous.
He had a bunch of weird shit in his apartment he collected and stuff.
He's a freak. You can
I mean, are you shocked? Have you ever seen Pee-wee's Playhouse?
Yeah, no, I guess.
His name
it's
is
just
Pee-wee.
It's just how do you have someone on a podcast and not address that elephant in the room, you know?
I think that might sour the mood a little bit on your
but
comedy
here's the
podcast.
thing. Here's the thing. How can you be into stuff that weird and not have a sense of awareness about it? You know?
You mean children?
Yes, sure, fine. That or jacking off and why can't you just joke about it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, he is ostensibly a comedian. He should be able to.
That's the thing. I'm not saying I wouldn't stoop to the level of jacking off in movie theater. I could definitely do that, 100%.
I'm shocked you haven't already.
I know, yeah. So it's not that out there, but it's just by ignoring it, kind of highlighting it. You know, you're making me think about it.
I just 20-year-old news at this point, though. Maybe even longer than that.
I guess. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I've just been off the Pee-wee Herman train for a while. Somehow. I didn't know he was still fucking alive.
He'll be dead soon enough, just statistically.
Along with the rest of us.
He'll be dead.
So, are you guys on the pick a side? Civil War. Are you stay the fuck home, or are you protesting outside protesting to open things up?
They shouldn't reopen anything. But I'm not shrieking about it.
God.
Look, if we need to sacrifice a few poor people.
Don't worry.
Are you going to run for office soon?
They really shouldn't fucking open anything. It's stupid.
Don't worry, guys. If we open everything, only 2 to 3% of children will die.
At least it's the children. It doesn't concern me.
I mean, if you just take all the children and then inject them with Clorox, I think they'll be fine.
I haven't been a children for a few years.
I was on Twitter last night and I saw Tide Pods were the top trending topic. Why are Tide Pods trending again? And I was like, oh,
Tide Pod
Trump
president.
Yeah,
He's sarcastic, guys. Don't worry.
I saw the suggestion to not drink disinfectant before I saw the Trump thing, and I'm like, why are people saying this?
I mean, after the first wave of Tide Pod antics, I'm not surprised.
They look good, though.
Yes, they do. They're nature's forbidden fruit. We've been over this.
They have a very nice texture too.
Yeah. They look like fruit gushers.
Yeah. Oh, that's something we didn't talk about yet. Let's talk about gushers.
Gushers are pretty good.
A childhood snack podcast.
Gushers are a little too intense for childhood me.
What? They're too sour?
Look, Funk, they're not supposed to be sexual.
What I mean is, like, you bite into them and it's like they gush, right?
Oh, they go.
And it was too much.
No, it was awesome. Gushers were so good.
They were.
They would have them at school for lunch, and I would like get them every day.
Nothing worse than a warm gusher, though.
No, the cold ones were the worst because, like, you
That's
put
what
it
she
in your
said.
mouth and it would be room temperature, and then the gush would happen, and that would be cold, and it's very unpleasant.
Well, good. No, it should be cold. Why would you want a warm gush? There's no reason to have a warm gush.
You exclusively eat gushers on hot summer days?
Well, I'm just saying, like, it happens. Yeah, sometimes they're sitting around.
Room temp gush.
Do you ever put gushers in the freezer and then take them out and just like suck on them like an ice cube?
No,
Okay, putting
the fuck?
food in the freezer is the
You
worst
done that?
trend I've ever seen.
No, but it just came to
You've
mind. We were
done
talking
this,
about
you
cold
fuck.
gushers.
Well, I'll try it out next time. I'll grab some.
But yeah, report back to us.
Do you have gushers?
Well, no. I mean, next time I find them.
Okay.
Which
Who
you know,
knows
in
when that's
this-
going to be?
in
If
this
people are
trying
buying out.
time,
Toilet paper, gushers.
in these
Yeah.
uncertain times, I'm not sure if I can find gushers.
Kenny. Kenny.
Yes.
What snacks did you eat when you were in school?
Wait, what?
When you were in school, what snack did you bring for lunch?
You're breaking up. I can't hear you.
Am I?
Yeah.
No, you're not
no,
breaking.
it's just Kenny.
Kenny,
Damn
what's
it, Kenny.
okay? What snacks did you eat for lunch when you were a child?
What snacks did I eat? Oh, chips, barbecue chips.
Barbecue
That was-
chip. Are you sure? Are you
so
sure?
fucking boring.
Are you sure you didn't eat these nuts?
You asked me.
I don't know, man. At least have a fucking good answer. Like, come on, man.
Not even like.
No, realistically, this is gonna piss Steve off, but it was Cheez-Its.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah. Still eat them to this
Good
day.
answer.
Did you drink Capri Sun, Kenny?
No, I hate that shit.
Oh, what the hell is wrong
Whoa.
I
Wait,
didn't
was
like
Capri Sun around when you were a kid?
with you? Yeah, Capri Sun is old.
Really?
Yeah.
You
It was
weren't
like-
even
it was like-
fucking born. What the fuck are you talking about?
Wait, wasn't Capri Sun like the early '90s?
Yeah, it was very much a 90s drink. The choice of 90s kids like me and Kenny.
What
Yes,
about
I'm
those like
sorry.
plastic barrels with like the blue juice?
I was gonna bring that up.
I love
I was
Well,
gonna
I
bring
just
up-
did, brother.
Fuck
Blue
you!
juice.
No, I got a package of that fairly recently. Like
How old are you?
Big ass package of like all those like I don't know. They're like 4 different flavors, right?
Yeah,
In the barrels, they taste like fucking garbage.
they do. It's like bug juice from camp.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Bug
those plastic fucking barrels that have like the foil lid,
The-
and you
Oh.
like punch a
Strong
hole
barrel.
in the
I
fucking.
loved those things as a kid, but they
Me
probably
too.
taste like shit now.
They taste like shit.
It's just sugar.
But the enticing thing is the shape. The shape
Yeah.
Right.
really.
You can pretend you're a pirate drinking it from a barrel.
I remember I would also I would always get every time me and my mom, but I was like a really small child, and we would go to the grocery store. We would get those, and I would get like an actual box of animal crackers, like those little boxes with
those things
with like the
fucking slap.
little string
Yeah.
holder thing.
I still see that shit in the store, and I'm like, I really want to get one of those. They're really good.
Do you remember those long popsicle tubes that were just in like clear plastic that would always cut your mouth?
Freezies or whatever
Track
they're
and
called.
field day.
Track and field day.
They're called Mr. Freezes up here.
Yeah, they're called freezies. Love those things.
Yeah, they're all right. And then no one took the grape flavor.
Ew. Well, I mean, one kid did, but
I don't understand why grape is so discriminated against.
It
I
sucks.
I have.
Well, the artificial grape flavor tastes nothing like actual grapes.
Yeah, none of them taste anything like the actual fruit.
Yeah, but some of the artificial flavors still taste good.
No. They all taste like
Yeah.
sugar shit. They all taste like shit. They're all the same.
like artificial orange tastes really good.
That's true. You're right. But that's the only one I'll give you. That's the only one I'll give you.
Are you telling me artificial cherry doesn't taste like cherries?
I hate cherries, artificial or real. So
Artificial cherry does not taste like cherry.
It does not.
It tastes like fucking Robitussin.
Dude,
I'm sick of
Robitussin
big
is
cherry
dank.
coming in here.
It's not dank. It tastes fucking gross.
Dude, I drink that shit all day.
That's like saying you hate mint because it tastes like toothpaste.
I mean, yeah.
Toothpaste is good.
Everybody who's listening to this, we just want to mention that we didn't have an itinerary before this podcast.
Not at
Kind
all.
of had one.
No. We just got to the toothpaste part in my document here.
Segue.
Yeah, speaking of toothpaste,
Oh,
Where's he going with this?
I just remembered this. When I was a kid, I used I had like this like child-friendly toothpaste, and I would just swallow it.
Fucking
I guess
gross.
it's a good thing it was child friendly then.
What the hell is wrong with you?
that does explain like a lot, probably.
Yeah. I do also remember being like having when I wetting the bed, and my parents had this like crazy ass thing that would like detect if you're like going to the bathroom in your sleep, and it would just like blare a fucking alarm.
What?
And yeah, and the one time and the funny thing is, it happened. It worked. My parents woke up, rushed in, saw me completely asleep, and they like woke me up, and they were the ones who freaked me out, and like traumatized me.
How does this device work? Is it like
I have no idea. I have no idea. This was like
This is pretty intense.
Yeah,
I know.
it is.
It was fucking crazy. It also took me.
Did you actually piss in the bed?
Apparently,
Your child
I
is
wet
about
myself.
to piss themselves.
it was like a fucking alarm clock.
How
or
does it
something.
even work?
That seems
I have
a
no
little-
idea.
That seems a little extreme, don't
They
you think?
put like a
It
tube up your
was.
urethra and they attach
Like,
it to your bladder.
You can't just
Ugh.
deal with it in the morning.
That was the one and only time they ever used it, as far as I know.
Maybe they
So-
realized how fucking weird it is.
It also
How has this affected your bathroom habits?
I don't know. Not much.
Damn.
All I know is it took me a while to. It also I do remember also it took me a while to actually like start standing to pee.
See, I still haven't mastered that one.
Yeah,
It's
we
just so
know.
much better to sit.
It is honestly better to sit
Yeah.
just because of
What
the
do you
fact
mean
that
it's better
like,
to sit? What do you do?
It's comfy. You just
just
relax.
you don't have
You got
stand,
somewhere to be.
you don't have
that
to
you're-
worry. You don't have to worry about your.
I guess I
don't know if
kinda
anybody
get it.
else has this,
Speaking
but
as
like you don't have
someone
to
who's
worry
always
about
had
your
a bathroom
like
phobia.
like your pee stream like splitting at the beginning, and then
Yeah, that does suck. That does suck.
Did I ever tell you guys? I think I told
Frank,
you
your
this,
mic.
How like I ripped
Sorry.
some skin off the tip of my urethra and now my pee comes out at like a fucking 60-degree angle.
What the fuck did you do?
What happened to
What
the skin,
fucking
bro?
fetish shit did you do?
This is not a fetish thing. I was like 10 years old and I was using the bathroom.
And you were sounding.
No, I think I had some kind of like tear or some injury to my penis that like a little bit of skin was hanging off. So
What?
like I'm just sitting there looking at it. I'm like a quizzical
What?
10-year-old. So I start pulling at it
Stop.
and like it hurts, but like the
Stop.
skin comes off. And ever since then, my pee has been like adjacent to
Are
me.
you
that
sure
I
this isn't like a correlation causation type thing? Because that happens to me too, and I didn't do anything to my dick.
well, I
Well,
regret it if that's what you want to know.
other than like maybe like masturbating a lot.
Yeah,
I was too young for that at the
I
time.
don't
This
know
was
if
like before I began my masturbatory.
Yeah, no. I like in my case, I started at like 3 years old, and I'm not even being hyperbolic. And
Wait,
I've
really?
yeah, dead ass.
Oh, this does explain a lot.
How does
This
that how does
explains
that even work?
everything.
How does
You-
that even work?
You just like it's like a pressure thing. Like if you accidentally apply a certain amount of pressure,
You
To the
milk
penis.
so if you continually apply that certain amount of pressure at a certain angle, it's kind of sideways at the end of the day.
So what? Yeah, I was about to ask about the orgasm, but I don't need to ask about a 3-year-old's orgasm.
No, by all means, ask.
Let's not. Let's move on.
Pee Wee Herman is loving this podcast.
It's basically the same.
Oh.
But you can't have a memory from when you were that young.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cha.
He doesn't have fetal amnesia like the rest of us do.
That sounds like one of those fake Reddit diseases that people come up
It's
with to feel
literally from
special.
The Promised Neverland.
Oh, god damn.
Are,
No, that was the
Our
opposite because he
fetal
remembered
amnesia?
everything.
Yeah, because he didn't have fetal amnesia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get you
Stupid.
now.
On a side note, the new trend are people like freaking out because they can't have clear images of things in their mind and calling that a mental disorder of some sort.
is this
It's
like the are you talking about like the NPC thing?
I don't know what people call it, but
Oh no, I know about this. Now I remember. This has been going on for a while.
yeah, but it's like people become concerned that their mind's eye is not very detailed. Like if you can't close your eyes and see exactly
Well, they
a
should be
clear image
concerned.
of what you want to.
They should be concerned.
It just doesn't matter. You don't need to make yourself feel special because your mind's eye doesn't work.
Well,
Like,
no.
who cares?
Well, that's the thing. It's like it's not that they're special. It's that they're
No, they-
exceptionally retarded.
Well, I'm saying that people like form an identity around this. They're like, oh, I have such and such. So
Yeah,
I'm
well,
a-
let them form an identity, and we'll know who
Have you? So
to
Discriminate against.
genocide.
that's the thing. This is the thing with Reddit with stuff like that is like if any
Reddit.
all of these like subreddits,
Don't say the
It
R
never-
word.
all of them like inevitably turn into like a fucking identity cult thing,
yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
really fucking creepy.
I mean,
Yeah.
fucking tell
Like-
us all about his trivial or his stories of magic Twitter or Reddit.
There's stories of both.
Like,
But,
like
yeah,
just like look up like there's a subreddit called Raised by Narcissists,
oh my god.
where it's
Oh.
like surrounding, it's all about this, and they like every single problem is based on that single thing.
It's
Or-
mostly just like teenagers, like, oh, my dad took my phone away. What a fucking narcissist.
Right. It's just it's so fucking
And that's what happens a lot of the time. If you're on Reddit, you just get hit with these realizations, like, wow, these other people, they're just fucking 12 years old. And, like, is this really where I want to be spending my
That
time?
fucks me up on 4chan though too, because
oh
it's like
yeah.
you're on there and I don't know, like I've been on 4chan since I was like probably 12, and I've
Yeah.
So you're
always
problem.
no, because when I was 12, it was what year was it?
How old are you?
Like probably like
1995?
2004.
Yeah, somewhere around. Is that like it was just a couple years after the site was founded.
Right.
So I'm relatively like old on the site. But I feel like I've always kind of interacted with it with the assumption that like everyone on there is like around the same age as me.
Right.
And as the years go on, like that's becoming less and less true.
Right.
And I'm just arguing with like 16-year-olds who are shitposting at me.
Isn't it? It's really bizarre.
It's
to think
depressing.
about that.
It's depressing.
Yeah. I can't wait. I really want to see a like one of those threads that's like post your birth year, your favorite game, yada yada,
Yeah.
and all that shit, like your childhood game and all that, and just see like what the majority are. I'm sure.
I mean,
I've
you
seen-
already see shit like that, and it's like, oh man, why? You know,
I can handle when it's just kids having shitty opinions, like, oh, I liked this game from 2010, it defined my childhood, like, whatever, I don't care. But when you actually like get into a discussion with somebody and you realize just through how awful their their reasoning is or whatever. Then it's like, wow, this person actually is just 12 years old.
And yeah,
the fact that I've wasted my time talking to them.
That's the thing. you almost expect like the person on the other side to like have some sort of life experience similar to yours, like at least like as much as you can quantify it, like around the same level. You know what I mean? You expect to be approaching them as like a peer rather than like you're almost 30 years old and they're 12. You know?
It's funny because like there's been a lot of this lately of like the people who played FF7 and the people who did not play FF7 arguing about the plot.
Oh god!
And there's
you see that all the time. But even so, you also see a lot of people who haven't played FF7 in an extremely long time, and they have this idealized version of FF7 based on like what their memory of it was, and they're like, "Oh, this isn't right because when I played FF7, I remember it being like this." They haven't played the game in fucking years and years. Like,
dude, the snowboard section was so good.
You have people who haven't played FF7 at all and are still shitting on this game for not being the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just to fit in, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, and then there's also people who are defending it, even for the things that are stupid. Yeah. It's like everything. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the hate for the game is completely unwarranted. I still don't like the time Janny shit, but whatever.
Unironically, you have to play the game because it makes sense in context. Like
I think the time Janny shit is clumsy. I don't want to get too into it because it's spoilers and shit. But yeah, well, I don't want to spoil it, but like,
I mean, we don't even know where it's going to be going.
From. I feel
no,
it's
cool resolved by the end of this game. That's the thing. The ending resolves all of it.
Is it though?
Yes.
It's Nomura we're talking about. It's Nomura we're talking about here.
Nomura isn't writing the game. He's only directing it.
He is.
The thing is, Matt, like that is resolved in a way where they could go in any direction with the next game. So, but that is
what worries me.
But see, if that's a problem, then that is a problem of the next game. It is not a problem of FF7 Remake this game.
I guess so, but again, it's like it's one of the, it's like a Star Wars what's the Force Awakens situation.
The sequel trilogy stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, where it's like the first one was like I liked it, but the next two basically made everything worthless that I liked about the first movie, so now I kind of retroactively hate it.
That is a valid point because like those movies individually should still need to be good, solid individual movies, but they also need to be parts of a whole. And the same is true of this. But I think the difference there is that was handled by like multiple different people with competing ideas, whereas this is just being made by one team that knows what they're doing, and it's going to be one solid story. But I think whether or not that story pans out well in the end, I still think I would hold this first game up as extremely good.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I can't complain about is the characters. That's something they absolutely nailed.
They nailed it, yeah, you're right.
Especially Corneo.
And honestly, like, I find it to be better than the original in that respect.
Well, I think it fleshes out the original in a way that is really interesting to see. It like these characters now are fully realized based on their counterparts from the original game. And granted, like, I've never played it in Japanese. I don't know, like, and I know that translation is clumsy as fuck. But
there's a lot. Apparently, there's a lot of stuff with Aerith in the Japanese version that's a lot different than the American version that like made her much more appealing as a character, which is why like people like her a lot.
So in the original game or in this one?
In the original game, like
because in this one, the differences between like her dialogue in Japanese and her dialogue in English, like they're noticeable. Like they completely changed like Aerith's last line, which is like the last line of the game, which is to me kind of stunning. But again, like that's spoilers getting.
But like I think to me that the problem with this game could have been they could have flanderized the characters and just taken everything that people really like kind of latched on about them with the original game and like jacked it up 10.
They could have basically made them like extremely meta.
What they actually did was make them more well-rounded characters to fill in a lot of the gaps to serve the story.
It's completely amazing. I never expected to give even half of a shit about Barrett because like Barrett.
How do you not care?
Wow, why
about
do you
Barrett?
hate black people?
What the fuck is your problem?
No,
Barrett is fucking great.
Yeah, I get where he's coming from just based off the original.
Yeah, because like it's like, oh, in the
I
original,
always
it's like,
cared
oh,
about
he's
Barrett.
half of his words are fucking censored out in symbols, and like he's like a Mr. T knockoff, and it's like, what is this shit? But like he's a multifaceted character in the remake with like sometimes contradictory motivations, and it's really interesting to see that in play. And
I think you're right about that. He is a little deeper in that respect, where it's
it's good.
he's obviously very flawed, whereas in the original it's like a little bit, I don't know, two-dimensional.
Frank is shocked that black people have depth.
No, it's not that. It's actually
It's also not even just Barrett. It's just like Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge are actual
That's
characters.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Characters
I do
that
love that.
I never would have expected to give even a flying fuck about are now, like, for the most part, fully realized, and they have backstories that tie into things that are like play a pivotal role later in the game. Like, to give Jesse's dad Mako poisoning and introduce that plot element that way is really smart to see the way that's going to come in later.
And
it's really cool.
I talk about this deal how they go all in on making Tifa and Aerith friends. So you actually have like these 4 members of the party who feel like they all have some kind of attachment to each other,
Right.
Whereas they're not just kind of together on this journey, but they're all just kind of have their own separate goals.
And that's something I definitely didn't like about the original, because it's like I would always like the party I would run. I mean, I've only played it like very few handful of times. Like the party I would run would always be Cloud, Tifa, and Barrett, and like always. Like if I had any other option, like I just wouldn't take it. But like the characters that you don't use just feel like they're kind of like tagging along and like don't really like they just have no involvement,
Right. I mean, Yuffie and Vincent literally are optional characters.
Yeah, well, those two especially, but I understand why. Yeah.
Like, Yuffie at least does have her own little side quest.
Yeah.
Vincent is just like some dude.
He's just kind of there.
He's just kind of there.
His like special events are just like they take like 5 minutes, and it's like that's it.
I like the implementation of Kate Sith into the original story, because I think that he like proves to be like a bit of like a check on the other characters and their motivations, because he's like, oh, like you guys are just as bad as Shinra. And
I hope they handle him a bit better though.
I
think so too. I mean, I'm really interested to see where they're going to go with implementing him, as well as the other party members that come in later. But like, I forget that Sid is a party member in the original game like 50% of the time.
Yeah, me too.
So
Sid is
really
fucking great, and Sid is actually really fucking good in the original game. So
yeah,
I hope
so too. Like, he has a very strong personality, and he's pretty important to the plot. But I also forget he's there all the time.
I mean, he literally becomes a party leader at a certain point, very briefly, but
yeah.
But
I think it's more like there's such an attachment to these original 5 characters. If you want to include Red in that of the first arc or the first chapter of the game in Midgar.
Yeah. I think that's true. Every party member that kind of joins after Midgar feels a little bit less, I don't know, fleshed out.
I mean, everything after Midgar is very odd.
I also mentioned this DL too. I feel like Midpoint was the high point of FF7,
definitely.
Whereas it is the most unique and like un-JRPG aspect of that game, and I guess that's probably why a lot of people latched onto this game back 23 years ago when it came out. Because everything after that, I mean, there's stuff, but it's more of a traditional JRPG after Midgar.
Right. Yeah. It's still great.
Pretty much everything that happens in like Junon is awesome, I think. Like
which one is Junon?
That's the city that has like a lower and upper half. Like you have to like dress up as a soldier.
Oh,
and then you get imprisoned there.
The big cannon city.
The big cannon, yeah. The escape from that place was awesome. That was a great scene.
Hold on. Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I can't wait to see Red 13 in a soldier outfit.
If that actually happens,
I mean, I think it like the biggest takeaway for me from this game is that they not only leaned into the weird stuff, but they went all in on it.
Yeah.
So like everything is still on the table for the rest of the game.
Oh, the honeybee in the remake is absolutely fucking
Yeah, and not only that, but just taking stuff like Hell House and making it into an event instead of the things that people wanted to see in the game are in the game. So when you get to the point later on where you have to fight the Triceratops tank, I'm sure they'll do that justice too.
Yeah, you're right. They did. They highlighted the weird stuff, which was nice. And
it's done so well that like a lot of especially Western games are afraid to do weird stuff because they feel like it takes away from their serious story. Right. And it's not like the serious emotional beats of the story are lessened at all. Because a couple chapters before you dressed up like a girl and fucking tried to seduce a mafia don. Like,
well, no, I mean, like, honestly, it almost makes them stronger because of the disparity between the two.
Yeah.
You have all these lighthearted scenes where you grow to actually like these characters, and then one of them gets fucking stabbed, and dies.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see where they actually go with the plot.
I am too. A
part of me is wondering if they're gonna do some time fuckery Steins Gate shit where it's well, you can save both of them.
I
don't think they're gonna kill Eris.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel
here's my stance on it. Since I guess we're getting into some a bit spoiler territory here. It seems very, very obvious that Aerith in this game is aware of the fact that she's going to die. There are a lot of hints that are pointing to it. Cloud seems aware of it on some level as well because he has that flashback to it as well. But I think that the way to make that scene more poignant is to make it so that despite the fact that she's aware that she's going to die, she goes to pray anyway, and she goes to use holy, knowing that, and they could very well make that scene incredibly poignant by doing it that way. That being said, I also completely expect for them to, try and pull one over on us somehow by doing something like, oh, here's the lead up to the church in the City of the Ancients, and she goes to pray, and she doesn't die there, but then she winds up dying at a later point in the story, just to kind of get
So that was the first thought I had. Then the second thought I had was, what if they had, in the original game, Sephiroth tries to get Cloud to kill her. What if in this game they do have Cloud kill her?
Well, Cloud seems a lot more murderous in this game. He tries to kill Reno.
But that's also his arc by the end of the game.
Right.
But also, what if they... And let me be clear, I do not want this to happen, but
oh no.
I could see them doing it for being, if they wanted to recreate that moment without recreating that moment, what if you save Aerith, but Tifa dies?
What
if they did that?
I'm gonna be so pissed off if they did.
Actually, I
thought the same thing.
But that's the only way you can recreate that moment and have it be shocking again.
The problem with that is that it would completely change the course of the entire rest of the game. Because
I think that's what they're going for.
You can't have the whole scene with Tifa taking care of Cloud in the wheelchair. You can't have a lot of the stuff.
I do think they're trying to go for a good ending.
Right.
Here. You know what I mean? So I don't... Maybe this is just a wishful thing, but I don't think they're going to kill Tifa.
I don't think they will too, but I'm just saying...
I think it is a little bit different too, because now we're expecting someone to die. There are theories floating around there that okay, maybe Eris will live, but someone else will die, that kind of thing. So
Stop calling her Eris.
Her name's fucking Eris.
It's not.
What? It doesn't matter. It's a Japanese name.
It's supposed to parallel the word Earth, bro.
I don't care what it's supposed to do. It's a Japanese fucking name.
It's fucking Aerith. The original, the official materials call it
nice
Aerith.
I don't care what some Japanese guy who doesn't know English decided this girl's name should be.
The Japanese can't even say Aerith.
They say Eris. I don't care. It's Eris.
You don't care.
I don't care. I play this shit in Japanese anyway, and in that fucking situation, it's Eris. I'm gonna keep saying Eris.
It's weird because the people who always go on about it being Aerith, they really want to be correct, and they really but Japanese. But the Japs, they just can't even say anything.
No,
So-
literally, it's like they're like, oh, it was a mistranslation. It's like, no, it's just a different way to transliterate it. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, literally, who cares? Call him fucking Curado if you want to. I don't care. Like, just
Call
don't be
him up.
autistic about it.
What do we think about Chadley?
Fuck Chadley.
Chadley's a weird alien person, but I kind of like it.
Chadley was a mistake.
How do you say his name in Japanese?
Chadley.
Chadley, yeah.
He is the most OC of a game that has like multiple of OC characters.
He
What
feels
about
like
Kyrie?
See, DL pointed out to me she already existed, so
she's not a remake OC. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Chad-
oh my god, dude!
but she's still weird.
I had to rub one out to that one.
Of course you did.
Oh god.
She's perfect. Stupid hat.
How are they gonna do the scene where Cloud has to do CPR on the little like island lolly girl?
What happens in this game? I stopped playing
A
after
lot of
Midgar,
things
and I
happen
just-
in FF7.
That's after Midgar.
Okay, I tried to catch some chocobos or whatever, kill them. I forget what I was trying to do with chocobos, but
There's a point where you have to.
I got so frustrated I had to stop.
There's a point
He
where-
couldn't get to choke.
There's a point in the original game where you have to catch a chocobo in order to cross this like desert thing to a cave or something because there's a giant snake thing under it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at in my game, which I stopped playing months ago.
Yeah, what you have, I forget how it works with the chocobo catching, but it is a little annoying.
The problem is that I hate the battle system in the original Final Fantasy VII. Like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like being able to take my time and strategize during turn-based
Oh, you don't like
things.
the ATV stuff?
I totally agree with that.
I love the ATV stuff. I've always loved it, so
I think it's fucking horrific. It's awful.
I think
Like-
I think it's a nice mix of like real time shit and turn based stuff.
I honestly
I
think
just don't want that to be mixed.
I think it detracts from the strategy of it, to be honest. Like if you're gonna do real time, but otherwise, like I mean,
Right,
I
because-
like
I
the
think
battle
the game
system
is
in this
so
way
fucking
more.
easy anyway that it doesn't really matter. Like,
The problem is that when you have a mix like that, what you're being tested on and what your skill has to be is just deftly navigating menus, and I don't find that to be fun.
Right. And then you have like enemy skill menus that are like fucking 50 lines long.
That's something that is very stupid. But that's something that just hasn't aged well. I think the battle system in the original is fine.
I think Chrono
I've
Trigger
honestly
is probably
always-
the best ATB game. I think that the way that game utilizes the ATB and like
Which
makes
one?
it so that the texts are kind of dependent upon like which party members have ATB at the same time, so that way you can use like a double tech and whatnot. Like it adds like some strategy to it in that regard. But like granted, like I think the DS version kind of perfected that because like having all of your options on the touchscreen just made those menus such a breeze to navigate that I really didn't have.
What game are we talking about?
Chrono Trigger.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I only played the DS version of that game, and it has like a similar thing going on to Final Fantasy, but I didn't have nearly as much of a problem with it for that reason.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that game is just like the UI on the DS is just so nice. Like they really like took these great steps to make everything like very legible and make it so that every party member has like a pretty limited amount of options, but like when they combine and they use their double text and triple text, like what you're doing with them, and like it's easy to do things in that game and have it feel satisfying. But it also helps the fact that the game is also piss easy, so it's like like I don't think these games are particularly tough. They're not designed in such a way where it's like, oh, I can't strategize, so I'm gonna die because like I don't, I can't find this certain option in the menu because I'm not fast enough. Because like I don't think there are many situations where you're going to like have it down to the wire like that. unless like you're doing some kind of like Super Bowls or some shit like that. But by that point, you should know what you're doing anyway. So I don't know. I think it depends on the Final Fantasy game. I think this has the system aged well. Like, probably not. I think the most recent iteration of it is probably in Bravely Default and Octopath, and even that game has flaws with it. But I
like Octopath had a very different kind of battle system because it wasn't timed. It just it had like a turn order, but there wasn't a real time aspect to it. You could just leave it.
But there's the number system that like I don't know what it's called in Octopath because I only played like 2 seconds of it, but like it's similar to Bravely Default in that like you have a number of moves that like you can like stack onto a certain like turn, and then like it's kind of like Bravely Default in that regard. So it's like I can have this one character use like 4 moves on this turn, but then they skip the next 3, like sort of like that.
Yeah, but the issue with Final Fantasy's battle system has not been like turn order or anything, but just time, how your turns are timed.
Yeah, I guess if you're.
So I don't think it's a very good comparison.
Like, I guess the only thing, like the one thing you could do is just make it really, really slow. But even then, it doesn't really change that much because the enemy still gets all the turns they normally would get. It's just slower.
Right.
So something like Octopath had a similar battle system to Trails in the Sky.
I haven't played that. I keep hearing it's really good.
Yeah, I played it for like about 8 hours and got really bored.
It's okay
because it went nowhere.
I think that game's just fine. But the point is with that game, like it was turn based and it had a very clearly delineated turn order. And things you did would impact that turn order, where it would move other characters forward in it, move enemies backwards, and you could just plan out the entire battle. Octopath is a very similar thing, but what's important is you could just sit there and just strategize for minutes on end before taking your turn. And anything else...
Wasn't it like a thing where like you had like a certain amount of like whatever to move forward? And you like have to get so close to an enemy to attack them in Trails?
No, I don't think so.
That sounds kind of like Fire Emblem.
I was just thinking of like how the original like Fallout games work. Because in those games, I was thinking maybe it was like that, but I guess not. In those games, you have like, I guess, energy or whatever. I forget what it's called. Action points.
AP.
Yeah, and like moving to an enemy, like uses up so many action points. Every action has in a turn, whatever.
Probably. All games do this differently, and most of them do it bad.
I think Kenny wants to talk about Animal Crossing.
Oh my god.
We should take a quick break, and then we should definitely come back and talk about Animal Crossing.
All right, good. I need another drink before I talk about Animal Crossing.
Oh, he's got to get his widow eggnog.
I'm just gonna get straight up whiskey this time.
Noggy woggy.
Well, that sounds good. Okay, well, we'll take a break and we'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to the Sonic Board Podcast, where we should probably change the name, but we're not. So Kenny left us because he doesn't like talking on podcasts, even though if we didn't invite him, he'd be really upset. So we kind of got to do that as a courtesy to him. So he's gone, but everyone else is still here, and we're going to talk about Animal Crossing. You guys like Animal Crossing?
I liked it for about a month.
No!
It sucks.
It's consumed my life.
I couldn't get as much enjoyment like you guys. I don't know. I stopped playing it after about a month, which is a good amount of time to play a game, so I'm not like...
I'm just like playing the stock market game.
Yeah, I made my money, I made my millions, and then there's nothing left to do. Paid off my house.
It's really not particularly fun. I don't get it.
It's.
I knew this would happen, though. I knew it. I knew this was the kind of game.
You can't say you're not enjoying it.
I mean, like to a certain degree, under certain conditions, yeah. Like I enjoy it from time to time, but most of the time, I just feel like I'm playing it out of obligation. Because if I don't, then stuff's gonna get out of like. I knew this would happen, and I knew this isn't the kind of shit I would like. But it just feels like a fucking chore.
See, I wasn't sure I was gonna like it, but I fucking bought it, and I think it's amazing.
Every day, I have to go and dig my fucking rocks.
I mean, you don't have to.
Here's a good question.
You're good boy point.
Stop.
Yeah.
What is everybody's daily routine in Animal Crossing? Because I think that really informs how you feel about this.
All right, yeah, let's go around the group.
Here's what I always do: is if I still have my turnips, if I haven't sold them yet, I'll check it before 12, and then check it again after 12. This is what I did in New Leaf as well when I was playing through that. You just kind of explore the island looking for all the fossils to find. What's the other thing? Find the money rock and get all the money out of the money rock. Find the money tree to get your free 30k. And then find the glowing spot so you can plant another one. And then what else? Oh, and I guess like all the double point Nook Miles things I do as well. And then I'll like go to the store to see if there's anything I like to buy. I go to the clothing store to see if there's any clothing that I like. And I'll you shake all the trees to get your free 2 furniture from the trees. Shake all the trees to get the the wasps, and the wasps' nest so you can sell them. And then just talk to villagers just so they don't leave the town.
Jesus. So that's a lot.
There is a lot to do. There's a lot more in this game to do than there was in previous Animal Crossing games, I feel like.
Whenever I would log in, I would go around, dig up fossils, pick up weeds, and turn in the fossils and sell anything I didn't need. And that was basically it.
See, I picked all of my weeds on like the first day.
They grow back, Matt.
Very slowly. Like I only get like maybe like 1 or 2 a day.
Right, but that's what I mean. Go around and just pick up those scant weeds.
I don't really care that much about weeding if it's only like 1
Why
or
are you
2.
arguing with him about weeding?
This is what Animal Crossing does to people.
I mean, I would, and so, like also I sometimes will go to like get a Nook Mile ticket just to go to an island, just get some random shit there as well.
Just to hate yourself.
I mean,
that's the other
shitty
thing.
island that has all the same fruit that you have.
Or it's the money island where you have an island of rocks.
Yeah, there's like 20 different or 25 different like islands, and there are some like very rare ones that have cool stuff on them. But like,
I've never been to those. I've never gotten those.
They're very low. They're like 1 or 2% chances of happening.
Yeah, they're rare, but if you keep spending Nook Miles and using them, then you get rewarded.
Yeah, I grew tired of playing that lottery. I amassed like 30 or 40,000 Nook Miles, and I wasn't even like doing a lot of the optional tasks.
Right. I mean, it's the kind of game that is just kind of like your routine, like just do these little things every day and for a while until you get tired of the game, I guess.
Yeah, at some point it does become routine, and you're basically just waiting for the next events to happen. But also, it's like the value you can get out of this game is entirely proportional to how much effort you want to put into making your island look nice. And
and
that is something I've found like great enjoyment in.
And this game is way more fun in that regard than previous Animal Crossings. In previous Animal Crossing games, you had to like find the space to put up a thing. Like this was like New Leaf. have the money, spend the money for it to appear. And then once it appears, it'll be like, oh, well, this kind of looks like shit now. I wish I could just move it, but you can't. You have to go and like deconstruct it and then spend the money again for a new one just to move it like maybe like 2 spots to the left. No, that's not the case in this game anymore. You just move it, which is so much better. The actual process of making your island look the way you want it to look in this game is just way better.
And there's just so much stuff.
There's like, so much shit. There's always been a ton of like random collectibles in Animal Crossing. And but this is the first game where you can actually put things outside. You can actually like there's a lot more ways that you can organize everything. It's just way better than any Animal Crossing. Like the whole crafting system also for me pretty much saves the series from just being like the boring chore game.
I would say like the first couple weeks of this game were pretty magical because at that point you still have like all the bugs to catch and all the fish to catch and like trying to do all that was enjoyable and just seeing everything that the game had to offer and like every day, you know, there's quote unquote story stuff to kind of progress the bigger stuff on your island, which I've pretty much all done now except for like paying off my house and fully upgrading that. And so that was definitely the most enjoyable part of playing the game so far. But I still do enjoy checking in every day and earning a little bit more so that I can try and find all this cool stuff that I've seen people on Twitter and shit posts that I haven't gotten yet.
Right.
So that I can just make more cool stuff on my island that, you know, will ultimately only appeal to me because, like, you know, other than like the rare times we all go visit each other's islands, which is a chore in and of itself, which kind of takes the fun out of doing that. But I'm perfectly fine with just making something that looks cool to me and having the occasional Twitter shitpost of funny things to find in the game.
Right. And also that's the thing. The game is the way the game is designed. Essentially makes it. Well, the one thing I guess to go off like when you first start the game, this game does a really great job at making the most mundane shit like really exciting. Like when I what was it? There was something I like said on Discord where it was like, oh my god, I finally found this. And it was like the most exciting thing ever. I forget what it was. I think it was like
the chlorocanth or whatever.
It was like
a big fish.
No, it wasn't a fish.
Coronacanth.
It wasn't the fish. I think it was something. It was something else. Like I finally unlocked some special thing, or like I finally found some special thing that you don't get until pretty late into the game. But like it does a great job of making really mundane things exciting.
I really want to hear from the River King because Omega has just like fallen like head over heels into this game. Like, way more than any of us. Because I looked at his hours played and it's at like 170 or something.
Holy shit.
That is fucking ridiculous.
So
I'm at 95.
Yeah, this was my first Animal Crossing game. I never played one before. I also, like Matt, got like furloughed from my job and I'm on unemployment. So, excuse me. And I've just been playing Animal Crossing this whole time during quarantine. I didn't have much of like a goal really when I started this game. I didn't really know what I would get into, and I guess my thing became that I'm like the fish guy, and so like I artistically spend hours and hours of my life now just fishing for the different rare fish in this game, and now bugs. I'm also a bug guy now. I also collect all the different bugs and stuff too.
You're a bug chaser?
Yeah, I caught a fly today for the first time, so that was pretty big.
That is one thing. Yeah. Like filling out. That's the other thing. Filling out the catalog for bugs and fish and the fossils. And now this is a new thing they just added the other day is the art stuff. You now can collect art, but the thing with the art is the guy who sells them.
Do they have counterfeits in this one too?
Yes, they have counterfeits in this game, and you can actually tell. You can actually tell based off of how they look which ones are counterfeits or which ones aren't. So if you're paying attention to what the art looks like and what the original art looks like, you can make sure you're not accidentally buying a counterfeit.
Guess I'm going to be an art guy now.
Yeah, and you give that all to the museum just to Blathers, just like the other stuff. But yeah, this game, the way it's designed, like it could be months and months and months later, and all of a sudden some new thing pops up. It's like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool, and it's just another new thing to add to your routine of playing the game. Like if maybe you got tired of this thing, well, now here's a new thing that popped up.
Like I would say, like even if I stopped playing now, I got a good 100 hours of enjoyment out of this game.
Oh yeah,
and I'll still keep playing, but like I would say, even if I stop now, like it was more than worth it.
Even when you get to the point where you quote beat the game unquote, which is basically you got KK Ryder to perform on your island.
Sorry,
that's
what
like
was his name?
KK Ryder.
KK Slider.
Oh, is it Slider?
Yeah.
No, Ryder is one of the songs. I'm sorry.
What's his name?
KK Ryder's like the Common Rider parody song.
It's I just lost my train of thought completely.
Anyway, we like Animal Crossing on this podcast. Disagree? Leave a comment below.
I think it was like 50 hours or something when I like got to the credits of the game. So even if that was when I stopped, I got my money's worth. But I wasn't like no fucking way in hell I was done.
See, DL, I think DL, you would enjoy the game more if we could actually become friends with you and send you stupid shit.
Yeah, I guess we should probably.
That's
do
also
that.
been a fun thing I found is like Omega and I just send each other the most random items every day. We just
I got a
shit
recipe.
trading wars.
I got a recipe for an umbrella stand from Colin today.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll have to all become friends and shit. It's just like that's one of those things about this game. I mean, it's probably been beaten to death now. It's just like it's so obtuse.
If this game was made by anyone other than Nintendo, it would have a good online system.
Yeah, can we talk about this? So I've done a lot of online play trying to make money with the stock market, and what that entails is because you only hold so many terms at once. You have to go to somebody's island, sell something, leave, come back, sell more, leave, come back. And anytime you attempt to do online play in this game, it is the most obtuse thing, like you said. Because to start out with, you have to go through these menus that, because you're not persistently connected to the internet. And once you get in the menu, it's like, all right, now we're going to connect to you. And then you have to go through 5 layers deep of, okay, I want to play online. I want to play with somebody I don't know. This is the code for their island. And of course, it uses stupid fucking code. And then it like attempts to connect, and it'll be like, oh, sorry, there's some problem going on. Somebody's in a text box. We can't connect to you.
And then drumsticks.
Yeah, you have to try again. And if you're like, actually, I want to connect to a different island, you have to leave the entire menu, reconnect to the internet, go back those layers of the menu again, put another code in. It's just so stupid. It's hard to think of a worse way to implement it.
Well, and then you have to sit and watch the cutscene of flying to the island.
Oh yeah.
And then everyone else on the island has to sit there and watch you fly to the island.
A lot of this game feels like that, where it's like, I mean, even when you're not doing the internet shit, it's like you have to wait for every text box to resolve. Even when you've seen it a million times, that pisses me off.
There are some quality of life stuff that they could improve with the game, especially with the crafting too.
Crafting, the donating
really,
stuff in the museum.
The rate at
care.
which you get fucking multiple DIY, when you get a message in a bottle and you get the same fucking recipe that you've had already.
Oh, yeah, that is dumb.
That's fucking horrendous.
And it's at least nice you can send those to friends, but yeah, I wish it would be unique until you got everything in the game.
You know what was really great? I got a message. No, not a message bottle. I had a person on my island. Sometimes when you enter a character's house and they're working on something on their workbench, they gave me a recipe for the simple workbench, which is literally the first thing you get.
That's incredibly dumb.
So they're like, "Oh yeah, I was thinking about something, and it just suddenly came to me the idea of a simple workbench."
I also do wish there was more you could do on someone else's island, because you're basically just going there to check it out and like maybe pick some fruit, and that's it.
Yeah,
like you can't really do anything. And I guess like also I mean like you don't want someone going there and griefing your island either, but like if there was still more things to do multiplayer, that would be cool. But
right. I mean, I know they could like. I know one thing I got. So my shop got expanded, and part of that is you get some extra like items, like you get some special like different looking tools that you can purchase that look a lot different than the regular tools, and you also actually get a timer, so I guess that's one thing that's new. So I guess if you want to like have a little race, you can do that. But yeah, I feel like this game is very much in need of like some kind of mini game system just for multiplayer.
Yeah, because like there are stuff like I talked to like one of my villagers, and they gave me like a treasure hunting quest. Like you have 3 minutes to find this treasure. It's like
right.
Little stuff like that is neat. But more of that for multiplayer would be cool too.
Right. I mean, in New Leaf, this was like after the big update that they had, I think in 2016 for New Leaf, where they added a whole bunch of extra shit. But they had like a whole puzzle game mini game that you can play. That was basically what's Frank? Do you know?
It's Panel de Pon.
Yeah, it's basically Panel de Pon, and it was just this fun little mini game that you can play. Even just something like that would be nice.
That was it. That was added in an update, though. That was
right. That was the big amiibo update that they did, I think, in 2016.
It is nice to know at least that they will keep supporting this game for a long time.
Yeah, this is
I'm
Animal Crossing is Nintendo's Fortnite.
I'm glad that they're taking this Splatoon approach in terms of like continually adding like content like this in terms of the holidays and having the NPCs come to your town and whatnot, because it does keep it fresh and it does keep people like coming back to it. It's just that right now it doesn't really feel like there's enough to really keep it going.
Well, So there is, but also I think the rate at which we all digest the game was more than they want people to.
That's probably true.
Right.
I mean, like that's why they had to nerf the Bunny Day shit, because it's just like it's obscene how many
Bunny Day.
No, but it's just obscene how many fucking eggs that you would get. Like they
Bunny Day was
not anticipating people to be playing this day and night and have to deal with this intense volume of fucking earth eggs and sea eggs or whatever. Like,
so right now, I have pretty big plans for the multiplayer of this game. Since I'm kind of done with it, I want to terraform the island into just some convoluted maze and then bury millions of bells in different places and challenge people to find it.
Are you actually going to do that though?
I want to. Whether or not I'll go through any kind of effort at all, it remains to be seen.
That's one thing I still need to do, is do all the terraforming shit. I don't know why, for some reason, like to switch to the terraforming, you have to go through like 3 checkboxes.
You have to. It's like it like loads or something. It's so dumb.
It's very odd. It's a very odd thing, but whatever. It's Nintendo. I'm sure. There's something later that
I'm really glad that it's in the game though. Like,
it's great. That aspect is really cool. I really do like that. I do like the crafting aspect, and just collecting all the random materials that you can get is something I just really enjoy. For whatever reason, I just have this weird affinity for going around and just collecting random shit like iron and rocks and wood and sticks. Like if I see a stick on the ground, like I have to pick it up for some reason. and just using all that, just getting all that, and like using it for crafting is fun. Like that's one thing. A lot of people are complaining about the weapon, about the tool durability stuff. It doesn't really bother me that much, although, I do feel like the gold ones should be indestructible.
That would be nice.
Because if they're not, then there's literally no point in wasting gold on gold tools.
Yeah.
Because you can just make a regular tool and just keep making regular tools because it's just so much easier to make them. And at the very least, like have a health bar, some indicator of how much like use you can get out of a tool.
I mean, it's 30, but like you have to like keep track of every time you fucking use it. And
it's just an annoying thing that can be very easily fixed.
It bothered me a lot more when I didn't have all my bridges and slopes, where like if my tool broke in one place and I had to pull everything out to climb down the ledge and then jump across the river with a pole, stuff like that. It bothers me a lot less now that I can move freely around my island.
Yeah, like it doesn't the durability stuff doesn't really bother me that much. But I can get why people are annoyed by it. I mean, except for axes, because axes were always like that. Axes always had durability, even in the first Animal Crossing. So this is just an expansion of that idea, I guess. I'm glad at least the ladders and the pole vaults don't have any durability, because that would be fucking annoying.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous to me that the watering cans do.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking obscene.
You're banging them against the flowers, that's why.
I watered those flowers way too fucking hard. My watering can broke. The slingshot I can understand, but the fucking watering can. Oh, that's one thing. I got a watering can. One of the watering cans that you get with the expanded store that you can buy looks like an elephant. That's cute. And you can customize it. One of the customization options is a pink version that has heart eyes.
Nobody actually likes heart eyes, though, right?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Very much my thing.
Heart-shaped pupils is a pretty good fetish.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's a fetish thing, right? Oh, reminds you like Shimonetta.
Sometimes it is just character design.
Hmm.
I do like the girl in Gurren Lagann with the flower-shaped pupils. I think that's cute.
Isn't
like
that
weird people
Isn't that like
design
the main girl?
Nia has flower-shaped pupils. It's very cute.
Right.
Where's DL?
Where is DL?
Hello.
There he is.
DL, what's your opinion on heart-shaped pupils?
Oh man, I'm with Steve on this one. They're the best. They're so good.
They just make fun feel uncomfortable. That's why
heart-shaped pupils need to. So when heart-shaped pupils are the most effective is when the girl has normal-shaped pupils most of the time, but then is dicked down so hard that she gets heart-shaped pupils.
This is the perfect transition from Animal Crossing.
I can get down with that.
I mean, I guess it's not, considering how fucking horny people are for some of these villagers.
Thinking about Frank dicking down somebody hard enough that they get heart-shaped pupils.
Bro, fuck you, man.
What?
I
didn't say you couldn't do it. I just am thinking about it.
I'm thinking
Why are
of
you thinking
Snowman
about
Gaming.
it? Stop that.
Now I'm thinking about it.
We're all thinking about it.
Don't think about that. Stop. Go away. Get that thought out of your head.
Oh, God.
Well,
is there anything else to talk about Animal Crossing?
Who's your favorite villager?
Mine is probably, I forget her name, but she's this like cute monkey villager in my town.
He likes the monkeys.
Oh, so I have kind of a story here. So we've all seen those people on Twitter going to great lengths to dispel the ugly villagers from their island.
Yes.
And I was pretty lucky because the 10 first villagers that I got were all kind of cool. Except for I had this. It was a lion guy. I think it was Rex was his name, and it's like he wasn't anything bad about it. He's just kind of a boring villager. So when he came up to me the other day, he's like, "Yeah, I'm thinking of moving out." I was like, "Yeah, okay, you can go. I won't stop you." So he moves out, and I spent a couple days looking for a villager on islands, and I don't find a good one. So I boot up the game today, and for the first time, I understood why people wanted to get rid of these villagers when there was just this like very disturbing, ugly pink hippo girl who just moved in on her own. I didn't invite her to the island. She just showed up.
No. Yeah, I
Do
think
you
I
remember
have
her
that
name? Because
villager.
I might have her.
I think it's Biddy.
Yes.
Yeah, I had
Oh.
that fucking bitch.
Oh my
and I
god.
kicked her out.
Why do we all
Fine.
have Biddy?
There's nothing wrong with Biddy.
She's kind of
Matt,
offensive.
Are you for real, dog?
Don't bully Billy.
Dog.
Biddy. She's fine.
Bro,
I'm
she's
not a
a
fan.
new cow.
Yeah, I don't like Biddy.
She's fine. She adds some variety.
No.
guess.
In the way, yeah, whatever. But
Not on my island, bro.
the I really like there's an octopus villager. I think his name is Zucker, and I always think of
Oh, yeah.
Zuckerberg.
I also have a lion villager whose name is Elvis, and he always wears a king outfit.
That's pretty good.
Nice.
He's a grumpy villager apparently.
Oh, so get this. There's a website people use to coordinate Animal Crossing trading, and one of the things they trade are villagers.
Right.
And because of this, each villager now has like a price attached to it.
Literal,
market.
Yeah,
literally
that's been a
human.
thing.
Well, I guess
That's
not
been a thing for
human.
quite some time.
So you can-
villager trafficking.
You can go price out your villagers and see how much they're worth. I have Agent S, and apparently he's worth like $2 million, which is relatively high.
Wow.
The strat
I mean,
is
I-
to trade them for Nook Mile tickets instead of for bells, because with Nook Mile tickets you can go to the islands and you could potentially get like really good shit.
I have fucking Anka. I
Yeah.
can't imagine how much she
Wow.
is.
Her and there's like one cat that everybody wants.
Raymond.
Bob.
Yeah. I think it's Raymond.
Oh, Raymond. No, okay. Bob is like the older one. Raymond is the new.
Raymond is a meme character.
Raymond is a meme character because some fucking Twitter asshole gave him a maid dress and he wore it. That's where all this came from.
I think people just want to fuck cat boys,
That's it too. It's a cat
Yeah.
boy.
especially Twitter.
It's a cat boy, and Twitter is hot for cats.
Twitter is hot for cats.
A cat is fine too.
That's an old one. What is the Chris Hansen quote? Like, I'm really thinking about you masturbating your cat.
I can't believe I'm actually thinking about masturbating your cat.
There.
I like the one. Oh my god! I like the one that's just like I like rape.
Like great. Yeah, that's great.
I've been watching a lot of TCAP videos on YouTube recently, and the best was, "Can I rape you anally?" Because the guy goes to the Sting house, and Chris Hansen brings up his screen name, and he's like, "Can I rape you anally?" What is that? And the guy just looks at him, and he just kind of like bops him on the arm, and he's like, "Oh, well, we all got our fetishes, right, man to man." And Chris just gives him this look.
I mean, he's right.
I like the one. There's this one where it's like this like Mexican dude or something, and he brings in beer, and he keeps telling to the guy to
Put it
to,
in
like,
the fridge.
Put it in the fridge. Yeah, just put it in the fridge. Just put it in the fridge.
Oh god, I love that guy. That guy, he looks like Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, he does. Just with the mustache.
If you take one thing from this podcast, you should watch more To Catch a Predator
Yeah.
clips on
Just
YouTube.
don't watch the
Cat.
new. Don't watch the new
TCAP.
stuff.
Yeah, the new stuff's depressing. Like, Chris is just all fat and old, and
He's gone downhill.
Washed up.
He's become like a has been.
He's basically a joke himself.
Yeah.
There is some big thing where like there's a big YouTuber that everybody hates that was like he was trying to nab because of some
what's his name?
Onision.
Yeah, and he just utterly failed at getting him. He just straight up got outsmarted.
How do you get outsmarted by Onision?
Imagine being outsmarted by Onision.
Do you think Chris goes to bed every night and he's like, I used to be on television?
Yeah, probably.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh, there's also the guy who like. There's this one To Catch a Predator where the guy is this the guy who just took off his clothing?
Maybe
the Indian guy. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. No, it was a different guy. It was a fat guy who kind of looks vaguely like
Snowman Gaming.
No, like what's his name?
That's me.
What's his name from
Oh,
what's that
Paul
fucking...
Rubens, Pee Wee Herman.
No.
Oh.
What are you trying to say?
Fuck me. What's his name from that? What's Giant Bomb?
Oh, Jeff Gertzman?
Yeah, he kind of looks like Jeff Gertzman.
Are you talking about the guy who they caught twice? Like the next day
yes,
he went
they
to meet a
caught
kid
him
at the
twice,
McDonald's?
And the one time he's just like, I'm just trying to get something to eat.
Just trying to get a McFlurry.
I'm just trying to get something to eat.
What's amazing to me is that usually these guys are like taken in and incarcerated or detained. But he was just out there the very next day hitting up children at McDonald's.
No, the best guy is I'm just on my way to the beach.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Generic white male was his name. I can recite a large portion of that guy's just encounter with Chris. It's so
Cute,
good.
Though. Built good.
Built good. It's amazing.
And just the way he just stumbles outside of the door when he leaves.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
To Catch a Predator is magical.
It is.
Just like Animal Crossing.
Just like Animal Crossing.
Frank and DL. Is DL still here?
Yeah.
Did you guys want to talk about Persona 5 Royal?
Game is really, really good.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
Yes, absolutely.
I think it's worth it.
I bought it. I still haven't started it.
I would do that if I were you. It's fun.
I've started Persona 5.
I'm kind of like waffling on the fence between starting that and trying to 100% FF7. But that's really hard, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that.
Just play Persona 5 Royal.
I think Royal's definitely worth it. It's like objectively better than the original.
Yeah, easily.
Before we get into this, Steve, let me just say, never try to 100% a Final Fantasy game.
But I like this one.
Do you have to fight Ruby Weapon?
No, that's not in Midgar, so.
Oh. Wait, is the whole game only Midgar?
Yeah.
Have you been asleep for the last 5 years?
Yeah, right.
I know, what the fuck?
I haven't played it.
It's just the Midgar.
Discourse about it.
It's just the Midgar section, yeah.
Mm. Everything
up to the point where you would normally leave Midgar in the original game.
Why do they call it Midgar if it's the beginning of the game?
Oh my god.
Here we go.
So what is the best new thing that they added to Persona 5 Royal?
Oh.
So the quality of life changes alone when it comes to things like baton passing are excellent.
Like the game already feels like much better to play from the outset.
One of my biggest problems with the original is that baton passing was locked behind the character's confidants. So it was especially egregious for characters like Yusuke and Haru, because Haru in particular, you didn't start the Empress's confidant until after you beat Okumura's palace, which made it really frustrating to use her, even though a lot of the enemies in there are weak to Sai. Now, right off the bat, you can take full advantage of having her in your party, and it makes that palace a lot less of a slog to go through.
Yeah, which was awesome. Even though the boss is like way fucking harder.
Yeah, it's that one.
The boss is ridiculous. I died so many times on that.
But Madarame is so they retooled Madarame in particular a lot and made that fight pretty much entirely focused on baton passing, and it's so satisfying to do that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Isn't it the fight that made DL like lower his difficulty, or is that Steve?
I never lowered.
I mean, I started on easy and went the whole way through. So
somebody got to that fight and dropped their difficulty down too easy.
I guarantee you, I never lowered my difficulty.
Yeah, it wasn't me either. I did the whole thing.
Yeah. You sure you're not thinking about yourself?
I have. I although that was one of the few bosses before the final boss that I actually died on when I first played the game.
It's kind of tricky if you go in there blind, but like now in this game, it's just basically a primer on like using your baton pass properly, and it's so satisfying to get.
Yeah.
And
this,
the new
is
area,
like, it kind of gives you. It gives you more than you need to basically steamroll the fucking game, like at all points.
Well, it's like they probably want people to get to new stuff that have already played the game.
Yeah, and that's that. Yeah, I was just gonna say too. It's like, especially if you've already played the game, like you know what the deal is, and since you've already played the original, you can maybe spend more time like fusing stuff and like trying out stuff maybe you didn't try before. And
there are just so many when it comes to raising your social stats, you have so many more options and opportunities to raise those at LeBlanc. They streamline that a pretty fair bit. I'm a really big fan of like fleshing out some of the confidants that weren't there originally. Like Akichi, the Justice one, was like a story locked one before, but now it's like you actually go to hang out with him, and it makes a lot of like his story beats land a lot more naturally now. Because
way better. Because before it's like you would just run into him and then you'd be like an asshole to him, and he'd be like, "Oh, okay," you know. Whereas now you go and like honestly like. The fucking darts mini game is probably the best darts mini game I've ever played in my life.
Yeah, it's really good.
Why do the Japs love darts?
It's pretty addicting. I don't know. I really don't know. But it's pretty good, and you know it gives you like these stat boosts. There's lots of things in the overworld now that give you like these cool little like party stat boosts and stuff like that that affect baton passes and. The way like your party members interact and the bonuses they get from certain actions in battle, which is nice. The ending is insane. Frank, what did you think about the ending? I mean,
I really enjoyed it actually. I wasn't expecting to like it very much because I was not really anticipating to be as attached to first of all, the new characters, and second of all, like they really sold me on like the setting in which like the like you know the build up into the new semester.
Yeah.
Originally, I was like, oh, like you know, like Kazumi is kind of just like I don't know if you played Persona 4 Golden, but Marie was pretty universally hated because she was just kind of like this Mary Sue that but they were very, very tactful with how they implemented Kazumi, and if anything, I almost felt like they could have stood to like add her in a little more freely.
Yeah, that was the one thing I hated about it was that I mean, so I ran this game obviously like I mean she's the new girl, so I went all in on the
of course.
The like romance with her or whatever, and like you only get to like do that at the very end of the game basically, and all of her stuff is at the end of the game. I kind of I don't know why I expected this, but I expected them to maybe integrate it a little bit more naturally, where it's like she does appear in a lot of places like in the normal like over the course of the normal story as we know it, but she's not usable. She's not like very interactable.
It's very weird because at the first it's like they basically redo the prologue, but they add this sequence at the end where when you fight these enemies, you're now fighting them with Kazumi there, and then like there's like a forced all-out attack sequence with her, and so originally I was like, oh man, they're gonna attack her on like hard. Then they went in the exact opposite direction, and they just completely went in and like implemented her very sparingly, like only in situations where like it felt needed and it fleshed out the other character.
Like, absolutely wouldn't conflict with anything in the arena.
It
was a weird choice.
Yeah,
especially because it's like she ends up feeling like part of the team by the end, but she's not. You know.
But I think the decisions that they made with Akechi in particular, like they pay off in dividends.
Yeah. Akechi was much better. But the time you do get to spend with Kasumi is good, and the new ending feels like surprising.
The new ending.
It feels surprisingly natural. It feels like a surprisingly natural.
It's a nice little extension from the main ending.
But it doesn't even feel like it's tacked on. It feels like a natural extension of it.
It flows into Scramble relatively nicely.
Well, no, okay. So if we're going to Scramble, I would say that Scramble basically redoes everything that Royal does in terms of plot in that respect.
I only played the demo of Scramble, but I do think that going into Scramble, like the main thing that I immediately noticed from the demo, and I really enjoyed it, is that if there was one problem I had, especially with vanilla Persona 5, it's that they really did not feel like, and going back to what we were talking about with Final Fantasy VII earlier, they don't feel like a group of friends that are, like, you know, all getting together and hang out and, like, you know, like, together, without having Joker around. They all just kind of feel like Joker's beta workers who are just kind of like circling around them.
Yeah.
And they're all just sort of there in circumstance. But like in the intro of Scramble alone, the summer vacation vibe that you get from it really helps in terms of like making them feel like one big group that sort of just gets together. And
I don't think Scramble did anything to help that, to be honest, in the grand scheme of things. No. When you play through most of it, because I mean, I definitely get that criticism. It's never bothered me so much, but with Scramble, it's definitely, I think, more apparent because all of these character arcs have already resolved themselves.
Yeah, of course.
And now you basically have a bunch of characters who, I mean, some of them interact well with each other, and then some of them are kind of just tagging along.
See, the weird thing is, like, there are like little like mini cliques within the Phantom Thieves.
Yeah.
You have like An and Ryuji, and obviously they have a dynamic because they went to middle school together. And then like Yusuke and Futaba have their thing, and Haru and Makoto are, you know, going through college together, and so like. They have these little like splintered off groups within each other where it's like these two characters have an interest.
Well, I mean, it's like I feel like it's like this with a lot of RPGs where it's like, I mean, so if we're talking about the Persona 5 cast, I feel like Ryuji, An, Yusuke, and Morgana have the most compatibility with each other in terms of like how they're written.
Well, because they're the originals, and they're, you know,
and the rest of them are very tacked on.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Futaba's a little bit. I mean, because Futaba does interact pretty well with a lot of the other characters, but in Scramble, it's just really apparent that like none of these characters are written to play off of each other.
My biggest complaint with Royal is that even now, Haru does not feel very tastefully integrated into the group.
No, and she never does. She never like even in Scramble, like she has like a whole arc to herself in Scramble, and it's just like it's a wet fart. It's like. It sucks because she is not like she's a good character, but she's
her
not...
confidant is one of the best ones.
It is. But going back to what I was saying about like so it's weird because Royal and Scramble came out so close to each other.
Right.
The end of Royal, basically the extra arc added onto Royal, the whole conceit of it, and I'm not going to spoil too much of it.
Right.
Is that basically so you kill the god, and then something else comes in to take its place, basically, and guide humanity, right? Scramble does the exact same thing. Like exactly. It's the exact same fucking plot point. Just like it's like a different thing that comes in to replace it. Based on the
intro alone, I can kind of see where like Scramble, because like I played the demo, so it's like I can kind of see like maybe where it would want to go with that.
You're still kind of replaying, like you're still kind of going like retreading the same ground, basically.
Right. Persona 4 did that too with all its spin-offs as well.
Did it? It's disappointing because Scramble is great because the two new characters it introduces have awesome moments. They're great characters. I like them a lot more than I thought I would. So it's worth it for that in terms of the plot. And I mean, gameplay wise, it's fun. The only annoying thing is grinding for that last fucking trophy, which I did for like an extra 10 hours.
Great use of your time.
Yeah. Well, I had to get the plat. But story-wise, it was a strange choice to basically do the same thing that Royal did. I'm not really sure why they did that.
Well, were they written like concurrently with one another, or like,
probably? But there was probably very little communication. I would guess. I don't know. I guess there's only so many ways you can take the end of Persona 5 and make it.
Another surprising thing to me is like, for a Koei Tecmo game, and like these Warrior games fucking love to do this. There doesn't seem to really be any like DLC for Persona 5 Scramble.
Yeah, kind of strange. I was expecting them to at least add like DLC, like Akechi and Kasumi to it or something like that. Like sure. Give them their own thing. But
I mean, maybe they will, because I mean, they did with Hyrule Warriors. They added
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But like, it's been almost
been a while,
almost 3 months since Scramble dropped.
3 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see that happening, especially with the way the story goes. It just feels like it kind of ends pretty definitively.
And there's no free mode in Scramble, right?
There's no free mode.
Not like Hyrule Warriors has.
No. It's nothing. I mean, you played the demo, so you basically know it's nothing like any kind of Warriors games or anything.
Right.
It's very much an action RPG. It feels.
No, I really like the way that they integrated the Persona 5 mechanics into that sort of.
Oh, it's great! It's great because it's
cool.
It's literally just the Persona 5 battle system, but like in real time, which is still inferior to the Persona 5 battle system, I think. But, I think they did the best.
It's fun to see how it made that transition.
They did the best that they could with it, and they did a great job with it, and it's really fun.
And it's stylish too. Like
it is, yeah.
They kept a lot of what made it pop, which is kind of what I was afraid of going into it, because it's like, oh, like how do you possibly like replicate this, like going into this, like, you know, like
they didn't replicate it perfectly though by any means.
Well, but they did it, I think, as faithfully as they probably could.
I don't know. I mean, like it to me it seems like they did a good job copying it, but didn't do a great job of like doing anything more than that.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it's so weird because it's like, do you want it to be a spin-off, or do you want it to be Persona 5 too? Because I feel like even the development team doesn't really know.
They didn't really know what to do with it in that regard. Yeah. But that's another thing. That's, I don't know. Like, I keep coming back to like it bothers me so much how R and S like tread on the same exact plot points, like to a certain degree, and it's just it just feels like it wasn't planned out at any.
Right. I mean, it wasn't like the Persona games have very definitive endings, and then they want to do all these spin-offs that continue on after that.
Well, Persona 4 had like so many different continuations. Like Persona 5 Dancing, like, is a canon continuation. Persona 4 Arena, and then Persona 4 Arena Ultimax are both like, you know, continuations. And then to the point where people thought that like one of the main characters in Persona 4 Arena Ultimax was going to be the main character of Persona 5. To the point where like in the game's code, he's actually called like P5 Hero. And so you'll see a lot of like, you know, from before we got like that first trailer for Persona 5, like a lot of speculation regarding around like the ending to Persona 4 Ultimax being like, oh shit, like, you know, like he's going to be the main character of Persona 5. And then, you know, like that absolutely was not the case. They're not really connected at all. So it's like, it makes me wonder like what the development cycles for these games actually like are like, and like how much collaboration they have when they like, you know, outsource it to Koei Tecmo or to like ArcSys or another studio like that. It's like how much collaboration like is there actually, and like how much do they really hope to like integrate into like any potential next titles? Like it's really, because it's really weird because it seems to just vary like amongst these entries in the franchise. So I don't know.
It does feel though like they're really trying to expand Persona 5 to a greater degree than they were with the other titles.
Well, I don't know about that because
they went insane with Persona 4.
Because Persona 4 had a lot. Like,
I mean, Persona 4 had a lot, but it didn't have a lot in the way that, like, I mean, yeah, like, what did it have? A couple fucking fighting games? Like,
it had the fighting. It had 2 fighting games, and it had the dancing game, which is a canon story.
But like, fuck that. I mean, but like, Persona 5 has like a literal sequel. You know what I mean?
No,
like
but the fighting games are both a sequel to Persona 4 and Persona 3.
Yeah, no, but the fighting games, like, fighting games by default are gay.
The Persona fighting games have like actual, like, they're huge, like, visual novel storytelling things.
Yeah.
They have a lot of fucking text and dialogue in those games.
Yeah, like I don't know if anyone, like, like, spoilers for Persona 3 here. Your guy dies at the end of Persona 3, and the ending of Persona 4.
What the fuck?
Yeah, the ending of Persona 4. Ultimax, the fighting game, has Elizabeth, the Velvet Room attendant, being like, I am going to go and save the main character of Persona 3 and like bring him back from the dead. And it's like, holy shit, like, what? And then, like, obviously they never went anywhere with that. Like, it went the same route as, like, this guy fucking Sho, like, being listed in the game's code as P5 hero. And, like, it's like, oh shit, it's the main character of Persona 5, guys. And then, like, he's...
Well, I guess my point was, in terms of budget, in terms of, like, the amount of effort they're putting into making an actual game, Persona 5 is getting more attention in that regard.
I mean,
a fighting game is not a real game.
Persona blew up a lot from Persona 4. It's a lot bigger franchise.
But they also have all of these trademarks for Persona 5 that they're just kind of sitting on. Like, for the longest time, they've been sitting on, like, P5B, P5U, P5AG. People are like, oh shit, like Persona 5 Akechi Goro.
Wait,
like
Persona 5 is coming to the Wii U?
Yeah.
No.
If only.
Like,
no, but like
they have all these fucking, like, trademarks listed for Persona 5, like, just like potential avenues that they could take this series. And we just don't know, like, how long they're gonna keep milking it. Because, like,
I think it's done. I think Royal and Scramble are the last, and they'll probably move on to Persona 6 now.
Yeah, I kind of hope so, because, like, Persona 5 served its... Like, Persona 5 as a game is great. It really doesn't need anything more than that.
It got the multiple spin-offs, it got the anime, it's like...
You're never going to...
It got the revision, so they're done.
You can't recapture that magic.
You can't, because, I mean, like, if you're gonna I don't know, like, Scramble was very fun, don't get me wrong, I think it's worth playing, but it just kind of, to me, it kind of proved that, like, if you're gonna outsource this kind of thing and try to expand on this, like, original game, it's just not gonna work. It's not gonna recapture what you had initially. I mean, Persona 5, I think, its most outstanding aspects were more style. I mean, it was a fun game, and I think
everything about it, honestly.
There were okay, yeah, I agree. There were a lot of good things about it. I mean, the battle system was very fun. It was fun to play the game.
The environments are really interesting. Like, they really, like, incorporated that Phantom Thief element.
Yeah. But I think there is a lot of legitimate criticism that can be leveled at it, both in terms of just, like, as a game, pacing wise, as a story. There's, like, a lot of problems with it, but I think it is more than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas, like, if you try to keep doing that with this set of characters, it's just not going to work, because
especially when you include the development that was part of Royal into the mix, because Royal has, it has third awakenings for every character where they've undergone additional character development, and it's useful for some of these characters that you really didn't get to see a lot of in the main story. Haru just feels like she's tacked on. Honestly.
She is tacked on. She is extremely tacked on.
It's really frustrating because I'm sorry, you can see where the arc of her character is intended to go, and it would just be so much better if they staggered it out over the course of the game rather than just introducing her in September as part of this horrible arc with Morgana feeling left out of the group. And
absolutely terrible. Terrible. It comes out of nowhere.
It's horrendous.
It is. No, but, like, honestly, every criticism everyone has about Makoto's placement in the story, Futaba's placement in the story, Haru's
Right.
placement in the story. They're all pretty legitimate, which sucks because I mean the rest of the game is so good,
Yeah.
and overall it's a fun story and it's a
And
really
also,
good game.
like, it's
but-
frustrating because the localization really fucked over Akachi in the boiler room, and like even in Royal, like Royal has an updated translation, but like it really didn't do him that many favors in that scene in particular.
Why? What did they do?
Like just the emphasis that they have on his dialogue, and they kept it mostly unchanged from P5 vanilla, even though like Royal added like a couple more lines relating to like his mother, and like like obviously that's something that you get more context on throughout Royal, and like just his general state of mind when it comes to like Shido and like his perceptions of justice and whatnot. And so like I was never a fan of the whole like, oh, like like Akechi shoots you and now he's just like a crazy face character. But like the extra arc that they've added for him in Royal really does a lot for him as well. And so to me it's especially frustrating when you have this sort of like waffling in vanilla where it's like, oh, is he alive? Is he not alive? Like, because like he dies behind this closed door, and it's like, oh shit, like I'm not detecting any more signals or whatever, but you never see his body, and so like it's setting you up to make it seem like he's gonna come back at some points, and then he never fucking does. Right. So it's like,
right, yeah, and I mean like it's I don't know. Every single Persona 5 game, I expect him to like come in at like some point, and he just doesn't. Which I feel is wholly
Royal
unsatisfying.
did it really well. Royal did it really, really satisfyingly.
They did it pretty well. I just feel like he's one of the more potentially interesting characters that they don't really do enough with.
Well, I mean, he's the most popular character in Japan by like a mile. So
I mean, as he should. As he should be. The issue, I mean, I don't know. They didn't handle him right from the start.
I also feel like a lot of the context when it comes to like how the how orphans and the stigma around them is presented in Japan doesn't really carry over as well into a Western audience, because like you don't get to see a lot of like. I
think Akechi is a very relatable character. I mean, like he's this kid who's been like shit on, and he gets this power, and like. I would fucking do that. Are you kidding me?
But especially like in Royal, when you get more of a context like for his past, like the kind of person that his mother was.
Yeah.
Like,
that's true.
Because like in vanilla, it's like he'll come to LeBlanc.
He just seems like a douche for no reason, kind of.
But randomly, like he'll come to LeBlanc and he'll be like, oh, by the way, like my mother was like, like she died when I was little, and like he'll just like dump his backstory on you for pretty much no apparent reason, and it's like, why are you telling me this? I've been nothing but an asshole to you. And
right. Yeah. Can we talk about how good the new music is though? Like the final boss theme?
It's fucking amazing.
It's
like,
so good.
The music that replaces Life Will Change when you like after you said.
Oh my god! It was the music that was in the trailer.
Yeah,
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it the whole fucking game, and then it finally plays. I'm like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah, it's excellent.
And then
Palace in particular is really strong though. Like I wasn't expecting to be as invested in it as I was, because I was like, oh, this is like some tactile, because like the forest, like the additional area that they added in fucking Persona 4 Golden, like it's garbage, like straight up. Because it's like you don't have enough of an attachment to Marie as a character to really give a shit enough about it, and then it's like, oh, Marie is fucking. She's the other side of fucking like Izanami no Mikoto or whatever, and it's like, who cares, man? Like, who gives a shit? But like like these are all like characters that like you've come to give a shit about, like Kazumi in particular, and so like.
Well, Maruki too. Like you do care about this guy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So,
he has a good point, and it's I mean, it's really pulled off really well.
Yeah, I overall I enjoyed the additions a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
Because I was really expecting the additional story beats to just kind of feel like tacked on, but they really integrated them better than I thought they were going to. I just would have liked to see Kazumi
better than I thought, but less than I would have hoped.
Yeah, well, because I almost feel like they were like holding back with Kazumi.
They really were. They really were, because she would show up so many times, and it's just like, just give her to me. Just let me have her.
But like you have that scene at like the school festival with her.
Yeah.
Oh man, I would get into more, but like it's spoiler talk, so I don't really want to get.
So
into it.
everyone should play it.
Yeah, it's good.
And scramble whenever it comes out.
Yeah, it still hasn't. We still don't even know if it's coming out.
I'm literally dying to fucking talk about it.
I assume the fact that they don't know when they can release it is probably a factor.
No, but when Royal was announced at that fucking at the Sound Bomb or whatever the fuck they're calling the concerts these days, like that same day we got an announcement for it in English saying that it was coming out in 2020, and everyone fucking lost their shit, and they were like, man, what the fuck? Atlus is the only company that doesn't do fucking simultaneous releases these days. Like, it's a fucking problem, and it's like...
It is crazy, huh?
It's because... the reason is because Atlus in Japan fucking prices their games at fucking, 9,800 yen.
That's right. No, but, I mean, come on, Final Fantasy was the same.
I guess it's fair, right?
Final Fantasy, it's not a price thing. I don't know what it is, but it's not a price thing.
Well, I'm just remembering, Persona 4 Arena was the only PS3 game that was region locked because they were afraid of
that. Makes sense because it's a fighter, though.
Right.
It's not people aren't necessarily buying it for the plot, but for RPG,
I mean, they're all their dumb streaming restrictions. They're just a very insane company when it comes.
Yeah, they're very, very strange.
They're actually kind of Nintendo tier.
Yeah, they're very strange with
some
how they
bizarre decisions.
Kind of stuff. I guess I'm glad that now I'm glad I learned Japanese. So the one time it's actually worked out for me.
You can't learn Japanese.
It took me literally forever to read it because as I was going through, I was looking up fucking kanji. And,
it's not even worth it at that point.
It was fun though. I'm really glad that I took that plunge because it was fun going through it. And now
Yokai Watch.
I did. I haven't started it yet, but I'm really glad because I know that game has some really generous furigana, and I know that game helps a lot of people learn Japanese. So
I mean, like I said, I always found it to be kind of the thing with learning Japanese and using text to learn Japanese. I've never found furigana to be the be all end all of trying to learn something. I've always found the vocabulary that's used to be a lot more of a deciding factor.
Well, I've been using Anki a lot more recently. That's the spaced repetition tool.
Well, yeah.
Have you tried using Anki Pon? It's pretty good for learning these kind of things.
What is Anki Pon?
It's a special kind of bread that if you write something on and eat, you'll remember it.
Anyway,
Doraemon uses it.
Anki is it's like a flashcard tool, and it's you memorize this many flashcards a day. And
Frank, we know what Anki is.
Oh, maybe there are people listening to this podcast at this point.
Well, let me stop.
I don't care about them.
That don't know what Anki is. I just wanted to explain. Anyway,
look it up.
I've been Anki.
I've been using it. Well, maybe they don't know how to fucking spell it. It's Anki, but it's really nice. I should really hop on the Wanikani train. I don't know why I haven't yet, honestly.
It's just it's never. So yeah, Wanikani is definitely useful. I think.
Assuming you know how to use it, and you're not just a retard who's I just skip all my reviews. Why aren't I learning kanji?
yeah. Like anything, it's what you put into it, but it is really useful, and so is Anki. The issue with Japanese games I've always found is that colloquialisms and speech patterns are never taught.
Right. You never. When you learn grammar, it doesn't. You very rarely learn so in a way that prepares you for the kinds of speech that you see in a lot of fiction.
Right. You're not going to.
That's true of English too, in pretty much every language.
No, yeah, you're right. But with Japanese, particularly, it's strange because everything else feels so regimented and able to like be easily put into a box.
Right.
I don't know why it's always hit me, especially with Japanese, where it's like, I don't know, like you're never going to be taught how like a stereotypical like old anime guy speaks, or like how a stereotypical like kansai guy speaks. And you know, both of those character archetypes are really prevalent in even children's games, where you're going to be reading their dialogue and you're going to be like, this is nothing like I've ever fucking read in my life. It's really frustrating, like at first, because you're like, what the fuck are they even saying? Like, I've never seen like this conjugation of this verb in my life, and you'll never see it again.
Right.
Like, you'll never see it except for like this particular situation in this stupid fucking kids game where this old person is speaking to you, this old NPC is speaking to you, and like you'll see it again in like other video games that have the same character archetype. But you know, like, what the fuck? That's always been the barrier to me, and it's something that you can only pick up through like repetition of playing these fucking games and like
You see
reading
that a
stuff.
lot in fiction too. Like you see a lot of people using pronouns that are just like completely fucking outdated too. Like you know,
Yeah.
like or
Usually.
like Morgana fucking calls herself like Wagahai, and it's like, oh, like, you know, it's like, who the fuck like calls herself that? It's like, oh, it's because like there was this fucking book like that came out like a million bajillion years ago where like it's narrated by a cat, and the cat fucking refers to himself as Wagahai.
I love my favorite pronoun is oida. Red 13 uses that like halfway through the game. Like once you get to the village, once you get to his village, he starts using that. He uses watashi at first, and then he starts
Right.
using and then just starts talking like a bitch for some reason. I never really picked that up originally, but
because he like, I guess he's just like at home now, so now he's free to be like a fucking country bumpkin or whatever.
yeah, for some reason like he just kind of devolves into like kind of like, oh, I don't know, for some reason like
He's
I
a
mean,
teenager, right?
he is
but
just
yeah,
like-
I guess technically
I guess
a big
he's
part
not Red
of his
12.
arc. A big part of his arc is literally a coming of age story. So,
yeah, but it's stupid. It's stupid.
it is
really-
stupid. It's
like-
kind of stupid.
It's just like it's just kind of like forcing you to. It's telling you to accept that. It's like, oh, by the way, this dog that you met 10 hours ago, yeah, he's a child. Okay, I've already had this image of this dog that was about to fuck my girlfriend in a like glass tube. But I guess you're just gonna reconstruct that for me now that I'm at this point in the plot.
Didn't they take that out of the remake?
So they do mention crossbreeding, but they don't specifically talk about having Red 13 fuck Aerith. No, like the implication is there, but it's not outright stated.
Right.
What a shame.
Hojo is an
See,
absolute madman.
that's why people are downvoting the game.
And it's weird because like they double down on Hojo being an evil, creepy fuck.
Oh yeah.
There are some weird choices, and I don't know, like the Honeybee Inn, as great as it was in this one, was such a far cry from what it was before.
They
where-
don't have the weird like satanic scene in the remake, do they?
Oh no, they don't. And I mean, like in the original, it felt more like
Sinister.
more like a brothel,
Yeah.
whereas this one, it's more of a host club or a hostess club.
The scene in the remake that I felt like suffered the most was the Trail of Blood scene.
I still haven't gotten there yet, so
yeah,
I've
don't wanna
heard
get
about
too
it.
into it. But like to me it was just frustrating because there was like a very clear ambiance that they were going for in the original. That's like,
Yeah.
you know, they and like they did their own thing with it, but like it's
I'm
not
sure I'll be
it's not what it
disappointed.
was. It's not
sure
what
I'll
it was.
You know what fucking bugged me about that in the original, that
What?
Trail of Blood scene. So you're in the Midgar building, right? And you go to a
Right.
certain floor and there's fucking blood everywhere, right?
Uh-huh.
And then later in the game you come back to Midgar and go in that same building and there's still blood everywhere. Like, did they not just they didn't get anyone to clean it up? Like,
I
this
guess
is over the
not.
course of at least days. If not weeks, you know? And they didn't get anyone to clean this blood up. I'm not kidding. This isn't a bit or anything. Like,
It
it
ruins
bothers
your
me.
immersion.
It really did. I was like, are you serious? There's no way.
Oh boy.
Also, just recently remembered that Rufus like lives.
Yeah, you mean the guy who gets run over by the car?
No, the guy who gets blown up in the fucking Shinra Tower.
Wait.
Rufus is an Advent Children. He's the fucking guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Wait, is he one of the? Is he one of the?
He's the Shinra president's son.
Yeah.
Oh,
like-
is he the guy that you fight with the dog?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
When you go get there, Danielle, but that fight's amazing.
Yeah, that fight is awesome in the remake.
Was he like? Does he just like go down really easy once you kill the dog in the original?
Yeah.
In the original game, he's not hard, but
No.
like
In this game, they made him fucking hard.
Did he have a dog in the original?
Yeah. He had a dog.
Honestly, he was so easy. I don't remember the fucking.
He had a
fight.
robot dog that was basically the main thing to focus on at first.
I don't know. Somehow I steamrolled the game this time. I guess it's the enemy abilities that you can get. Like you throw that on like anyone, like boost their magic, and they just steamroll everything.
Yeah.
All right, is that a podcast?
I think it might be a podcast.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's a podcast.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to?
And I'm tired of pretending it's not.
I don't know. I think me and DL are the only ones here who have any interest, maybe, in Half-Life Alyx.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Want to talk about Half-Life Alyx?
Well, it's a thing.
In the very little that we know about it, I guess mainly the ending and what and the implications of it.
Yeah, I mean, so I watched an interview with like IGN did an interview.
Uh-huh.
Did you see that with Gabe Newell and
yes, with
like,
Gabe and the other guy.
Fate.
I forget his name.
I guess he used to be a modder, and he was a lot more involved, I guess, with the development of Alyx than Gabe was, obviously.
I think it's been one of the people who's been there for a long time.
Was it Gary?
Eric Wolpow?
He may have been there for a while. I don't know.
Hold on, I need to look this up now,
I think he
I
used to be like a source modder though.
Oh wait, no, that's not him. This is who is this guy?
I don't know. He's some kid. Anyway, he hinted at wanting to work on more Half-Life, which is interesting because I mean we haven't heard that sentiment from Valve for quite some time. I think when you listen to Gabe talk, he's a lot more interested in the technology, which makes sense. I mean, Half-Life has always been, and he says as much in the interview, is like Half-Life has always just been the go-to series for whenever they want to test out a new technology.
Right.
Which completely makes sense.
Right.
Like
that's the thing.
If
Valve...
you're going to make if you're going to make a new Half-Life, I mean, from their perspective, you might as well make it a new experience.
Right.
Instead of making it just for the sake of making it. I mean, there's nothing... And I was thinking about this pretty recently. It's like, no, there's nothing particularly enthralling or new or interesting about its story. But for some reason, reason, you're invested.
It's Valve is very good at world building and storytelling and just making these very without shoving everything in your face in an annoying way.
Mm-hmm.
I like the one thing that does kind of annoy me with what I watch. I watched a lot of a playthrough of Half-Life Alyx, and it does do the Portal 2 thing where it does kind of feel like it shoves jokes in there a little too much. There's a lot of banter between Alyx and the one guy, I forget his name.
Wheatley?
Basically.
Yeah,
basically. It is basically Wheatley. But they're just very good at making these interesting characters that are unique, feel very real. You just end up liking them, even though there's nothing really particularly amazing about them. Look at fucking Dr. Judith from Half-Life 2. She just looks like some random like mom.
Yeah.
And she ends up being like one of the most important characters in the game. They're just very good at making these interesting characters and stories, and what's it called? Environmental storytelling.
The narrative does a lot, I think.
Yeah.
The setting and like the world building, I guess, it's pretty interesting, but the setting itself is nothing new, really.
Right.
At least
it's weird
where it's going.
because the conceit they build up with Half-Life of like jumping between these different, I don't know if they're worlds or timelines or what.
Well, Half-Life 1
they're all just equally uninteresting.
Yeah, yeah.
When they
they really are.
Anything.
It's just kind of like, oh, like aliens. I don't know. I mean, it's always been more than that, but for some reason, all of that other stuff kind of drags you into the story too.
Right.
So now everyone's all invested in what's going to happen to these guys. So, but I totally understand why Valve is like, why make this just for the sake of making it, you know?
Yeah.
Because
like the whole...
is anyone going to really be satisfied? Like
at this point, no. I feel like
no, but like at any point they wouldn't have. Like having a conclusion to the story. I mean, like what's really gonna?
They were never planning on like a conclusion.
Right. So, yeah.
Like
so,
it's just
but people expect it. The people who complain about there being no Half-Life 3 expect a conclusion.
Right.
And there's
when you think about it, Half-Life 2 ended in a cliffhanger as well, essentially.
Yeah.
But
and that's been retconned now.
That's episode 2.
Oh yeah.
You're talking about episode 2.
Well, Half-Life 2 was retconned as well. I mean,
it was with episode 1, kind of. But Half-Life is a series where there's not really anything, or retcons don't really exist because they just do literally whatever the fuck they want.
Retconning is basically a plot point.
Right. I mean, G-Man is literally just like
he's become an excuse to take you from one setting to another, really. Like,
G-Man is basically just the developer's self-insert.
And it's amazing that they've somehow fooled people into thinking that the G-Man is some kind of intriguing plot point.
Right.
G-Man is literally a plot device.
Right, yeah. But people treat it like he's a real character that actually has a meaningful backstory that they want to know about.
It's always been more about the setting that you find yourself in and like enjoying the game in the moment rather than like what is the mystery, you know, what's going to happen next. It's always been more about like putting yourself in the present.
Yeah, right. And Half-Life is just a really solid first-person shooter. At least it was at the time.
It's actually fun, and that's what matters.
Right.
I'm not really sure how people I mean, but that's the thing. It's like I kind of get it. I kind of understand why people want a conclusion. I mean, like you can become attached to these characters or whatever for whatever reason. But I'm not sure how that's happened because it's not like it was never made with that in mind.
No, Half-Life has always been like just this very weird series where the story felt like it wasn't ever supposed to really go anywhere. Half-Life 1 has a conclusion, but it just kind of like ends with you beating this giant evil alien fetus thing, and then G-Man like just yoinks you up and is like, "Oh hey, you're gonna work for me now, or else you're just gonna die." And then you just kind of get put into suspended animation. Half-Life 2 ends literally the exact same way. The deed is done. G-Man yoinks you back up and puts you back into suspended animation for whenever he wants you back again. The big problem with the episodic thing is it felt like they were planning on having an actual conclusion to this like saga.
Yeah.
And then episode 2 happened. They ended it on this really crazy cliffhanger. That was like what's going to happen next cliffhanger.
Definitely, yeah.
And they did nothing with it for over a decade.
I think they probably realized that it was a mistake to do the episodes to begin with. I mean,
they literally said that. Like,
really?
They literally in the interview, I think, with Gabe, like they literally said, yeah, the episodic thing was something that we realized was not something we wanted to do.
Well, it's like when you think about it, the discourse around Half-Life really reflects this question of like, when did, I mean, first-person shooters, I think, have always been kind of the the apex of PC gaming. It's always been like how PC gaming has been represented. I think first-person.
Yeah.
Shooters. When did PC gaming become more about resolutions to stories rather than how we're going to use technology better in the next installment? And that's what the episodes did. It focused on this narrative rather than saying like, oh, how do we make use of this new technology and give users a new experience, like a gameplay experience, not a fucking movie. You know,
you have to remember that a part of Half-Life's draw throughout its heyday was how cinematic it was at a lot of times.
That is true.
Yeah,
Half-Life
1 now, but
Half-Life 1 was like a big deal for a lot of people because of the fact you start off like for an hour just doing literally nothing but walking around and talking to people. And
it was
I
new
think
how all of the
of
cutscenes were in your character's perspective, and you could just move around, whatever you could choose to watch them.
A lot of that, I think, though, is a reflection of what I was saying, though, in that like you're using this technology to give someone a more immersive experience rather than not necessarily presenting like a linear story, but just give someone a more immersive experience.
I think what that is a mismatch of the developer's intentions versus what the audience takes from it.
Exactly.
So,
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
where
everybody sees that the developer is doing this new thing with a new way of delivering a story, and instead of appreciating the technological step forward, they just think about, oh, what a narrative! I want more of that narrative, and
right.
Because that's what people want.
I guess what I'm saying is like when you look to like older FPS series, like who the fuck was saying like, oh, I can't wait to see how Doom Guy's character arc wraps up, like oh,
exactly.
What's the next story beat in Quake? You know, like it's always been more about like how can like, oh, I can't wait to play this fucking game and see how much more fun it is, rather than like what's going to happen to these characters. And the funny not to discount the characters, but like that's not the focus, you know.
The funny thing with Half-Life Alyx is that like there's not really a whole lot of actual story in there,
right?
So like, and that's like the big thing of why this game ended up being such a success is because of the fact they just went all in with making a really good, immersive VR game, and it's like the first really good actual VR game, and not like some shitty tech demo thing.
Right, and it sounds fucking awesome. I can't wait to play it.
There's this whole section of the game that's like, so it feels like Valve has been paying attention to all these like evil monster chases you and you have no way to fight it games like Amnesia and stuff, and made their own version of that in Half-Life Alyx. But the way it's done is just so much more actually scary, not just because of the VR, but because of like the sound design and the way that you have to, like, what you have to do. Like there's one point where you literally like have to go into the same room this monster is trapped in order to get around it and advance. There's like all this crazy shit they do.
Right.
Like the game, and just the fact, like the game, literally when you start it up, it's just this big, what do you call it?
Turd?
Just, yeah. Big, like just this view of City 17 and the Citadel, and it's just, and there's like a lot of stuff that you can just play around with. Like they have, like you can find a pen and write on a, not a pen, but with, and like write on a whiteboard or on the window. Cute. There's a bunch of little things you can interact with, and there's a lot of things like there's a lot of other like little things here and there, like the gravity gloves that you have. are a huge part of like what makes the game really what's the word?
Fun.
I guess fun, not fun, but like
interactive.
Compelling.
No, it's like easy to play, I guess. Like quick to get.
I remember reading a comment of someone who had played the game, saying they had spent hours in the game playing around with the gravity gloves, and then taking the headset off and like feeling like they had lost a limb because they don't have the gravity gloves in real life.
Yeah, like
which I thought was super interesting.
Right, like you can just all the ways that you interact with it, the way you have to load your gun, the way you like actually pull ammo out of your like backpack and put away ammo and stuff. Even down to like the very ending of the game where so spoilers, the ending of the game is basically like a Half-Life 2 superpowered gravity gun thing where your gravity gloves get superpowered and you like shoot these like crazy like combined lightning bolts things at people, at the enemies.
So it's like Infamous.
I guess so. But and like at the end when like G-Man hands you the briefcase, you actually have to like grab the group briefcase. And the little bonus ending, you have to actually grab the crowbar. I don't know. They actually really went out of the way to make a truly interactive and good VR game that just isn't the same without VR.
Let me ask you a question. What is the VR equivalent of a seesaw puzzle?
I don't know. I guess the VR equivalent of a seesaw puzzle.
Now I'm thinking about Infamous. What a shitty fucking game that was.
Infamous is the reason we didn't get any more Spyro the Dragon.
It's the reason we didn't get a lot of things. I mean, fucking like sub 30 FPS, you're running around basically just like mashing R1. It's essentially a shooter. Like a really shitty one. I played the shit out of that game and it sucked.
I played that game for 2 hours and I didn't like it.
It's fucking horrible, isn't it?
Didn't it get like 4 sequels?
It got a lot.
There's Infamous 2, Infamous Second Son.
Yeah, the one on PS4 I played.
It got 2 reps in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Oh yeah.
Who even is there other than Mr. Infamous?
It's evil Mr. Infamous.
Mr. Infamous and evil Mr. Infamous.
That's literally what it is. I know there's like some generic VR trend that they all do.
Oh, he wants to drum.
Is there like a cooking section?
No.
Is there a Bitcoin mining section?
No. There's no... Unlike
it's such a shame that turned out to be false, because that was such a good story.
Oh, yeah, I know. It is kind of funny, though, how it turns out it was because the person who was, like, making that like, press release thing, whatever it was, like, was just basically just, like, looked up a bunch of random buzzwords and threw it all together into this press release to make it sound better. Even though he had no idea what the fuck he was talking about.
You got to admire that. That's just complete lack of care for your job.
Anyways, we basically have Half-Life 3 confirmed now, too, which is interesting.
For now.
How long it'll take them to get that out.
They actually did say in the interview that, like, obviously this doesn't really mean a whole lot from Valve, but Gabe basically said, yeah, you're not going to be waiting another 15 years for the next Half-Life game.
It does seem like they're a lot more excited about working
Right.
With the IP now.
They sound a lot more excited about Half-Life now. They sound a lot more into actually making games now. Like Gabe even mentioned, like at one point they're like just talking about the other games they've made more recently, like
Artifact.
Yeah, Artifact. He actually mentioned.
Oh
Artifact
yeah, he was like,
how,
"Fuck Artifact."
Yeah, he basically said that it was a failure. He literally said that it was like the
I mean,
failure.
he doesn't need to tell us. We know.
Yeah, and now they're apparently making they're basically making an Artifact 2, and I guess trying to make it way better.
Glad he learned.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make Artifact 2.
What can we learn from Artifact?
He still won't give up on Dota 2, that mother fat fuck.
I mean, Dota 2 is very successful, so
I guess it's just
that is
like,
apparently like the only game that Gabe plays anymore is Dota 2.
MOBAs are just fucking disgusting.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it. I played that game with a friend for like 90 hours, and
Steve and I played a lot of Heroes of the Storm.
Oh my god, that was like
I played
one
one
of the worst
game
things
of
I've
that.
ever had to do.
I played one game of that, and I was just like, nope.
Because, like, not only was I forced to play this game to get a fucking Overwatch skin, but I had to play it on my laptop at, like, 5 FPS because I couldn't fucking run it.
Remember how we got the skin, and then, like, a month later, they just gave it out?
Yes.
I wanted to kill myself.
Oh, boy.
Never again. Well, we don't have to worry about it anyways. That game's fucking dead.
So
Overwatch?
No. Well, not yet, but
eventually.
fucking HOTS is definitely dead.
When does Overwatch 2 come out?
They haven't said. Assuming it doesn't get pushed because of the Corona stuff, I'd imagine it'll be later this year.
Are they gonna?
They kind of have to have it out before the next Overwatch League season because they want to play it on that. So
are they gonna like shake up the meta at all?
I mean, they're adding multiple heroes at once, so we're probably gonna get like 4 or 5 new heroes. So that's gonna be crazy.
Okay, that's somewhat exciting. I mean,
And
yeah.
then there's gonna be a new game mode as well. So
I really miss the early days of Overwatch when it was like just complete fucking chaos.
I mean,
Yeah.
I miss playing with anyone other than Kenny.
Ah!
Listen, he's never gonna hear this. I love Kenny. It's fun to play with him. He's very bad at the game.
Never uses his ult.
He can only play 2 characters. And so it's like, he has fun with that. So I'm not gonna shit on him for that. But it's like
That's still better than I only play one character.
Yes, but like you play the best character that the game has ever had, which is Diva. He plays Soldier and Ashe, which are the 2 worst DPS characters in the game.
How can he still be bad at Overwatch? He plays it every day.
Maybe we should get back into Overwatch.
The thing is with Kenny is like
rather not.
He comes from Halo, which is like you shoot and kill things, and that's all there is to it. Overwatch is not a first person shooter.
What a simpleton!
It's really not. Yeah,
you can't kind of brute force your way to victories with any character.
Mm-hmm.
So Kenny might be a really good soldier player. I don't know, but that's not going to make him good at playing Overwatch.
Right. And the thing is, it's a team game. Like you can't just be good. Like you can have somebody just carry a team in Halo. You can't do that in Overwatch.
At least I no longer have to tell him how to use his ult. He figured out how to do that. So.
Oh boy.
The nice thing about the Ashe ult is that Kenny doesn't really need to optimize it. It's just an AI.
Yeah, but like
does
he'll
it.
still ask like, should I use it now? Should I use it now? It's like, just use it, man. Just throw it in there.
Use it or lose it.
Oh man.
Yeah, you guys better come back for Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah.
Is it gonna be $60?
I mean, so probably not. I imagine it'll be like they'll do like what they did with the first game. It'll be like $40, and there'll be like a $60 version with stuff. But the thing is, all the actual multiplayer stuff is free. Like
Doesn't
that's
it have
just
a-
going to be like since you already own Overwatch, that'll be added to the game. Overwatch will just be updated to Overwatch 2. It's only the single player stuff that's going to be costing money.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to do the PvE campaign and stuff, you'll have to pay for that.
Yeah, that's
But if you
probably
just
the
want
most.
to play all the new heroes or play the new game mode and stuff, all the PvP stuff will be free.
Okay. So if I have Overwatch 1, I basically will have Overwatch 2. I just don't have
Exactly.
the single player expansion.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm, like the good thing is they have gotten much better about balancing the game. There's still problems, but it's a lot better than it has been the last couple years.
Right.
So hopefully by the time we get to Overwatch 2 come out, it'll be more balanced. Until they add like 5 new heroes, which will just throw the balance out of whack. But at least then, like, no one will know what the meta is. No one will know what's good or bad. It'll be kind of like when the game first came out, and everyone's just kind of discovering it for themselves. So
Right.
Just without the 6 Torbjorns.
Yeah, I just don't want to give money to Blizzard. I guess I don't have to.
The good news is you won't have to.
Yeah.
You already gave their money. You don't have to give them any more.
Right. I mean, I really liked Overwatch when it first came out on PC, even though I could only play it on a crappy computer that played it at like 20 FPS. But
that's miserable. Like my PC can only do like 45 FPS, and I can't stand playing it that way. Like, I bought the Switch version just
oh god,
not, and that's miserable at 30 FPS.
Yeah,
and that's like a consistent 30. Like the game runs well enough on Switch, but it's like you're playing it at half the speed, so it's just very hard.
I'm just sad that there's never going to be another game quite like TF2 ever again for me.
Well, maybe one day they'll make TF3.
Maybe one day they'll make TF3. I don't know when. Maybe next time they won't infest the game with hats.
I mean, they're going to.
Maybe next time they won't accidentally let the source code be leaked.
Video game.
Like I urge everybody here and anybody who is listening to this just watch the Meet the Team videos again and the expiration date video they did, just because of how fucking kino they are and how much better TF2 was at just characters and like cool and just like just making these characters than any other team-based shooter, Overwatch included, has been.
All right, good podcast, guys.
Good podcast.
Good podcast. Everyone give yourselves a pat on the back.
We did it.
You sure that was a pat on the back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Time to
Much
play.
appreciated.
Time to play more Dragon's Dogma.
You're all my friends.
We're all friends.
Thank you, Frank.
That's nice.
Fuck you.
That's nice.
Except Omega. I fucking hate that fuck.
Oh my god.
Eat shit.
All right, let's get out of here. Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I'll go back to reading Chainsaw Man now.